to start with the obvious one. Gay.
What are the chances that I don't get kicked off Twitter and YouTube just for talking to you?
A good solid 10%.
10% getting kicked off or 10% staying?
No, 10% staying on, actually.
You're going to still be here when Joe Biden is long gone. So running cover for a guy that clearly is not capable for the job is not a long-term strategy for your career.
That Trump said there are good people on both sides.
He didn't say that. He said it, but a sentence later, he said, I'm not talking about the white supremacists and the neo-Nazis.
Yeah, I have to.
I'm always talking about this wide tent thing because there's a lot of good people out there. Of course, there are very fine people on both sides.
Yes.
Are you a good, decent citizen? Are you vaccinated?
It's nobody's business whether I'm vaccinated. That's like me asking you the last time you got laid. I mean, it's just irrelevant.
Anthony Fauci can go himself. If I take you for dinner, order your own potato. You shared the potato with a billionaire.
How do you think I became a... Oh, no, he's a billionaire.
He's the billionaire.
I'm broke. Oh, God damn it.
It's a crazy world, crazy world. Somebody's gotta have to save you. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. Somebody's gotta have to save you.
It is here, finally. It is time to welcome him back. Welcome back to, wait, who am I, you're wondering? Who the heck is this woman with all this hair on Dave's show? I'm Sage Steele, and I am honored to be here on the day that we're welcoming Dave Rubin back from his annual foray somewhere in the world. We never really know. Actually, I have no idea, which is why one of many questions I have for him actually is we welcome him back. Hi, Dave Rubin. You're here.
Wow. Well, Sage, first off, they thought I got a real glow up when your face appeared just there.
No, not at all. Honestly, okay. You guys need to buckle up and or get comfortable, like all of the above. First of all, it is an honor for me to be here with you, the fact that you asked me to do this, because past several years, you've had some incredible people come and welcome you back. Last year, it was like 10,000 degrees in Milwaukee, right?
Yeah, it was the hottest day of the year in Milwaukee.
Yeah,
with,
just in time for your
Malice
return.
And Jordan Peterson and a couple other guys. And Glenn Beck's done it, and Megyn Kelly's done it, and Ben Shapiro's done it.
So I better not screw this up.
But you were truly my first choice for this year because I felt that. Well, first off, did you notice the little sort of exhale I just did in the middle of your intro there? I am definitely feeling a little different than I have felt in years past. And that is partly why I wanted you to do this, because there was there's a very obvious like political version of this, of escaping politics and the machine and all that stuff and the craziness. And the 2 weeks beforehand, there was a coup. I don't know if anyone's talking about that anymore, and I don't know who the VP is on the Kamala side, assuming she's still in. Like, I have no idea. But and the assassination. There was like so much craziness going on, and I just knew beyond the political part that for me to do this and do it as honestly as I can, and for all the reasons that I guess I am halfway decent at this job, that I needed to escape in a different way. And also now with two 2-year-olds, and you're really, Phoenix said right when I sat down, and I haven't even talked to the guys, I said when I get in the studio, let's just say hi. We did a quick hug with everybody, and then I just sat down. Like, I really haven't spoken to adults in the last month. I'm not kidding.
Well,
like, I've
that's
talked
not happening in this room today.
I talked to David, and then I basically just talked to two 2-year-olds for the last month. Like, a couple waiters here and there, or, the cashier at Whole Foods, but like, I have not had like even an adult conversation in a while. Like, it was a true escape.
I think it's incredible that you choose to do this every year. And before we get into like some of the details of that, why? Like, where did this idea initially come from? Because I think this must be one of the hardest things that any professional in any industry could choose to do in today's day and age.
You know, the first year, I think this was my 8th year doing it, and the first year it was kind of a joke. Like, it was, the show had just taken off a little bit. We had a little bit of money where I could be like, all right, I could take off. I only had, I think, 1 or 2 employees, so it wasn't such a big deal kind of internally in what we do. And I was like, I don't know, like I'm in this news cycle all the time, 24-hour news cycle and blah, 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 and Twitter and everything's getting faster. I was like, let me just do it as a joke. And it really was a joke. And the first like 5 days that I did it, I was freaking out, and you feel phantom buzzing in your pocket. Literally, like you feel buzzing in your pocket. And like you start wondering like, oh my God, like will the world be here when I get back? And what have I missed? And all that stuff. And then when I came back, I just kind of felt refreshed. And then I did it a second time and I felt more refreshed. And then a third time. And the third time, I think it was the third time, was really the most important one, because I had considered myself an atheist for at least 5 to 7 years or so. And I came back and I no longer felt I was an atheist. Like, that's pretty powerful. There were several things that went into that. And then over the last couple of years, just as I guess the success or the whatever it is has grown, and the craziness has grown. Again, it was like, I'm sure nobody's talking about the assassination attempt anymore. That would be my guess. I'm sure nobody's talking about most of the nonsense, the coup. It's like it's all happening so fast. We're all responding to it so fast. We're on this thing all the time. Like when I was at the beach, we did 2 weeks in Mexico in the rainforest.
Okay, so this is the first time we're all learning where you were. Yeah. 2 weeks.
So for the first
in a
week,
rainforest in Mexico.
Yeah. So the first week we were home, and I was just playing with the kids and just trying to do a few house projects and just like deal with life stuff. And then we were like, all right, for 2 weeks we're just going to go away. We're in a rainforest in a treehouse. Beach, like perfect, food perfect, just perfection. But I'm watching all these people, weather's beautiful, all of these people sitting on the beach just staring at their phones, endlessly scrolling, or on planes. Everywhere you go, everyone is like this. Now, I know we all know this, like I'm not reinventing the wheel by telling you this, but like when you step away from it for a little while and you just see people staring. When I was on the plane, when we were going to Mexico, there was a guy that had the new Apple VR thing, whatever it is, the Apple, like, whatever it's called, and he was wearing it for a 5-hour flight.
Oh, that cannot be good for your brain.
No, cannot be good for your brain. And I kid you not, when he got up, I wasn't looking at anything, right? So I wasn't looking at screens or anything. So I kept looking at him, like I just thought it was so bizarre. I'm watching this guy thinking like, what the hell, is he playing video games? Is he watching porn? Like, what the hell is this guy doing? And when he got up, he was sitting with his wife, and she clearly was not thrilled that he was lost in VR land. But when he got up to go to the bathroom, he looked like he was drunk. You know what I mean? Because you're just immersed in this lunacy. And that's what we are all subjected to with the news and the scrolling, and it's like picture of a baby, terrorist attack, this political thing happened, there's an avalanche over here, and it's doing something very, very weird to our brains. And I feel like I've gotten like a very good reset here. I feel calmer. You know,
it is embarrassing when I think we look at ourselves and reflect with this in our hand, you know? And then when you look around, we got to change it. We have to do it. But you took the ultimate step to go deep in this in a rainforest in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Tell me, I think everybody here in the studio would agree that when you walked in, you had this very calm energy about you and you always have a genuine smile on your face. Your skin looks great, really annoying actually.
I did a mud mask last night.
But you said it's changed you in past years. Did it change you this year?
Well, we did have one crazy, I mean, you have a crazy experience every day when you're off the grid, really, because you're just present all the time, right? And again, because I wasn't really around adults, I was just around kids. And it's kind of funny being around kids all the time, because when you do the political thing, it's nonsense all the time, right? Yeah. It's crazy BS. This one lied about that. It's trying to find truth and make sense out of something. When you're with kids, like, it's all real all the time. Yeah. All the time. Hungry, gotta poop. Like, it is real, you know, putting their heads in the dirt, and you gotta clean up this, that, and the other thing. But it makes sense. It all makes sense. Right. So I think that was like sort of the meta version of what I took away. But I'll tell you one thing that happened that I don't know where I'm going to put this in my life or something, but something genuinely like life-changing happened actually. So we were in Mexico and we went to a sweat lodge. They call it I think it's called the Temazcal ceremony. So picture you're in like a giant kind of clay hut. And it was just David and I, and there's basically, he's not a shaman actually, but a shaman type person and one other guy, and you go in, and they bring in all of these coals and they steam the hell out of the place. And it's pitch black, so they cover the top. So for an hour and a half, you're in this room. It is basically as hot as you can possibly imagine, like your skin like almost burning off you, drenched with sweat. You cannot see anything. You kind of start to hallucinate. Like at one point I saw like a horse run by me and I saw like strange lights in front of me. Yeah, not on drugs, no drugs whatsoever.
No ayahuasca.
Not drinking, no ayahuasca, no weed, nothing. And they're chanting and they have different sounds that they're playing and all of this stuff. And we do this for about an hour and a half and we get out. And then later that day, and it was just like unbelievable. Like you get out and your heart is pounding as if you just did the hardest workout of your life. Like basically I got out and I just fell to the floor. I don't have any pictures of this, of course, because we didn't have phones. But just fell to the floor and just like, I just felt like my brain had been blown apart and whatever. Now, that's not even the cool part yet. So later that day, we're in our little tree house and we have a little hot tub there and it's like, I don't know, 100 or 200 feet above sea level. So the beach is below us, unbelievable view of the ocean. And we're having like I would say one of the most important conversations we've ever had, just talking about our lives and how far we've come and what we want to do in terms of raising the kids, and how we want to be as parents, and that we've had such a great run and it feels like it's changing now because now the kids are they're like more human now too, you know, it's like there's some new thing happening. Like we really, like it was probably the most important conversation David and I had ever had.
Wow.
And as we're having this conversation, I can't describe this properly, and because we didn't have a phone, there's just no photographic evidence of it. 2 huge black vultures descended on our treehouse and they sat in front of each of us. So we're in a little hot tub about 8 feet wide. One basically perches right in front of David on the banister. One perches right in front of me. And they're just staring at us. Just absolutely big, like big black vultures. At least this big, huge. Claws that look like dinosaurs, like, yeah. The whole thing. And they're just staring at us, just absolutely staring at us. And one's staring at David and one's staring at me. I kid you not. And they did not cross. They're just staring at us. And David, he's a little more into some of the spiritual side of things and everything. And he starts kind of talking to the vulture, like, are you here for a reason? Like, what's going on here? And again, we're having like the most important conversation we've ever had. So mentally, spiritually, we're just as open as we could be. And he's kind of asking the vulture, like, what's going on here? And as he's asking the vulture questions, it kind of seems like it's nodding and walking certain ways. And then he's like, he had been talking a lot about his grandma Rose, who had passed away. And he said, maybe this vulture is my grandma Rose. And he said, Grandma Rose, if that's you, give me a sign. And then I swear to God, may lightning strike me right now. The second he said that, the vulture jumped down. Now it's like 2 feet away from him. And we had tequila, 2 glasses of tequila on each side, one on each side for each of us. The vulture goes to the glass of tequila and starts drinking out of the tequila. His grandma Rose enjoyed to drink. Let's put it that way. She was a bit of a drinker. Yeah, she was the life of the party, a bit of a drinker, and started literally drinking tequila out of the glass.
A vulture?
Started drinking tequila out of the glass. No drugs were involved in any of this or anything else. Anyway, then we just continued to kind of ask it questions, and David sort of wrapped up the conversation with that vulture. And then he was asking me, he's like, is there anything you're trying to communicate to this vulture? Or is this vulture trying to communicate something to you? And I'm not like, that's just like not fully my thing, kind of. So David was like, maybe I should try to communicate with the vulture. And again, I swear on my life, the vulture that was on my side, the second he says that, it jumps over to his banister, standing next to the bird. Oh, and his vulture then turned around. His vulture, because it was done, whatever he needed to do with that vulture, his vulture was done, so now it's staring off into the horizon, and then just my vulture now staring at the two of us. And we chat.
What?
Anyway, I'm probably not even explaining it properly.
No, you are. I have
in
actually
some
a perfect
sense.
visual.
Oh, and okay, so then we just kind of let it be. We're like, all right, well, we cleared.
Did you say something to the vulture?
So I did. I did say something about how I felt that a certain chapter in my life was ending, and maybe there was this new beginning coming, and something like that. But I'm not like, this is why I wanted you to do this today, because I knew you'd be better at like the non-political stuff than just drag, And anyway, then they literally fly off at the exact same time. So then that night, we go to dinner, and the bartender comes up to us, or we're sitting at the bar, and I said to the bartender, you're not going to believe what happened. He's like, how was your day? And I was like, well, actually, something completely insane happened. We went to the Temescal. We have this crazy ceremony, sweat lodge, everything that we get in the thing, 2 big black vultures. He gets his phone out. He's like, did they look like this? And he shows a picture of the black vulture, and it was the exact same black vulture. And apparently these black vultures, they're like a very, very deeply spiritual animal in Mexico, and they represent the ending of one phase and the beginning of another, because a vulture, what does a vulture do? A vulture eats the carcass of an animal to then sort of continue the circle of life and all of that stuff. So that was just like one utterly insane thing that
It sounds like a movie.
But I think it was only because we were open enough to
you were open enough to.
Yeah.
Only after being in the sweat thing.
The sweat lodge.
For 90 minutes and coming out and feeling drained and exhausted, which means you were, and I believe in that stuff too, and that your heart, frankly, was open to receiving messages. Because if I see a vulture that close to me right now, I'm out.
Well, that's the thing. We did have a moment right when they got there. We were like, they're like 3 feet away from us at first. And they have huge freaking claws. Yeah. Huge claws. Like,
and so
literally,
is it like from you to me?
Yeah, like basically this distance. Oh, and they're they kind of tap their claws too. Like, it's like Jurassic Park. And David looked at me at one point and he was like, I guess they could attack us, but I'm not worried. And I wasn't worried either. Like, I had no fear that they were going to like gouge our eyes out or anything. So anyway, that was one, obviously.
Last thing, I'm sorry. See, now I'm in.
Yeah.
Politics doesn't matter. What then do you take from that moment as you come back and get used to this life again for the next year? What do you take from that moment with the vultures and your husband?
Well, that was, I think, like it was the full sign of what we were talking about, which was that we've come very far. We're secure financially. I made it successfully here. I work with great people. Like, we've built a great life. We have a great home. We have great friends. Like one thing that I was thinking about a lot all month is like, I was thinking about, the Lou Gehrig speech, I'm the luckiest man alive.
Yeah.
Like, I actually was thinking that. Like, I have everything that I need. I don't need anything else. I don't want anything else, all that. That's a crazy thing to say. And I don't even mean it like I'm patting myself on the back. I mean it like, God, what a tenuous, nutty thing to, like I have a great relationship. I have great kids. I work with great people. I don't fear that I can't eat lunch today. Like, all of that. I do this. I do what I want to do. I wake up and do what I want to do. And I guess it was a long time working to get that. But now there's a new phase coming, is to answer your question. And the new phase is really like the father part of it. And, and I thought a lot about that. Like, when you just spend that amount of time with kids day in, day out, like that, you want to fill them up with all of the right things and the good things. And probably very few of those things were happening in the news and all that kind of stuff.
But I feel like gratitude.
Gratitude, that was the word. That was the word that was popping in my head.
And for you to come in, and then I got to witness everyone so happy your team happy to see you, and you genuinely happy to see them. I feel like you're always like that, but maybe it's another level because of what happened. A moment that will never happen again.
I don't think the vulture thing is going to happen again. And I did realize that this year, like all my guys got to take adventures. Phoenix was in Thailand, and Joey was in Greece, and Adi was in Budapest and got engaged, and Connor got to go home.
I thought I saw a sparkly ring on her finger.
Yeah. She got engaged. And Brock went to Scotland. Like, so that was also part of it, that like I've built something that allows people that I work with and love to like also live the best life that they can do. And I just want to kind of hold that and expand that and nourish that.
And you're doing it. And I just need to say, and then we can go on, because do you see all this? There's a lot that's happened.
Then you can tell me who the VP is. Okay,
I just
fine.
love that you don't know that.
It
is very rare, and I've been in this insane broadcasting business for 29 years, all corporate media until the last year. Now we can be human. This doesn't happen. Like, having you as a leader does not happen. So I know everybody in this room appreciates it. It is a blessing. So just, if you won't give yourself a pat on the back, I will, and we will. Because when you create a team around you and you want them to go take time for themselves and not worry just about you, you get that back tenfold. And so it's a beautiful thing you've created.
Yeah. Well,
Where's
thanks.
my
It's
tequila,
better.
for God's sake? now
Now if a vulture lands in here, we'll know that something
So
really is
amazing.
going on.
Thank you
But so
for sharing.
that sort of led it to this morning, where
Yeah.
for the first time in coming back from all of these, and all the other years that I've done it, it's just been like, oh, had a great August. Let's get rolling again.
Yeah.
And we roll out. You know, I haven't even, these new graphics that we just showed in the intro. Like, I haven't even seen all of that stuff yet, and the music and all of this new stuff. And I know there's some other things that I have in store, I guess, are going to be surprises to me shortly.
Lots of surprises.
But like, this was the first time that walking into the studio this morning, I felt something a little more rich or deep than just, we're starting up again.
Oh, we can feel it.
Yeah.
So watch out, 2024, 2025.
Yeah.
Let's get us through till November 5th or 7th, whatever the hell date that is, right? We need to pray to get to there. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. And thank you. Can we continue the vulture talk later?
Sure.
Tequila on our own?
Yeah. We absolutely
I'll treat.
can.
Okay. So I'm gonna break down all the news to you in 4 segments.
Okay.
So 2024 election news, and there's a lot. We got to start there. That's like the biggest thing, right?
Okay. Wait, are you going to tell me the VP now?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Are
okay.
you trying to control your
Well,
show?
No. All right, you go ahead. You're the host. You see what happened? Now I'm all the way back.
He's like, wait, no. I'm just giving you a warning of what's to come. So we're going to do election news, and we're going to do additional political news, because there's a lot on the side besides what's happening for the run for the White House.
Sure.
Some bad faith actors news, and we got to do some pop culture, right?
Okay.
I know you've missed it.
Oh, yes. I have missed the pop
missed it, yes.
of the culture.
But first things first, we do have one of many surprises for you to officially welcome you back.
Oh.
Hey everyone, there's a few things you can count on in September. NFL and college football being back, students returning from school, and Dave Rubin returning from his isolation booth. Dave, welcome back.
Dave, you are so back.
It was getting ghetto without you here. You were missed.
Dave, Primetime 99 Alex Stein. We have missed you for the last month. It is time to get back to work. We got to save the country somehow, some way. They're going to steal this election. We need you to call it out before they do it, Dave. So time to get back to work. We've missed you. Pimp on a Blimp says, let's go.
Hey, Dave, welcome back. I didn't know you were gone. I didn't know you were back. But, welcome back.
Dave, welcome back to the grid. We've missed you. The grid's not the same without you. We're not even really properly a grid. Pretty amazing that you still managed to make content when you're not on that grid. You've not been away from the grid. You're all over that grid. You're a cube, you're a square, you're a part of the grid.
Hey Dave, welcome back from being off the grid. Big things are happening. I am no longer the black face of white supremacy. I'm transitioning. Welcome back.
Hey Dave, welcome back. I'm delighted to be the one to tell you that Lawrence v. Texas has been overturned, but don't worry, I'll be glad to visit you in jail.
Dave, welcome back. A lot of news happened, but forget about all that. The most important news, I got my lesbian glasses again.
Hey Dave, heard you were on Skid Row. Just want to know that there's people out there who care for you and want you back in the world. Lots of love.
Dave, we miss you. Where you been? The whole world is falling apart. Look, I'm here at Valuetainment right now. We're about to do a massive event. We're all asking, where the hell's Rubin? Where's Rubin? He's on vacation. He's checked out for a month. We miss you. Welcome back. Excited to have you back.
Hey Dave, so glad you're back on the grid, but I have sad news for you, and hold on to something tight, or anybody. I think this time it's final. I'm sorry I had to be the one. I did not see this coming. They look so perfect, but that's what I got. That's what you missed.
Well, hey Dave, welcome back. You might have missed a couple of things since you were last stateside or wherever you were. I just hope you had a great time. I'm jealous, but things are happening so fast. Since you left, we probably had about 14 or so. You'll remember where you were when kind of moments, but more coming. So we're glad you're here to help us sort it out.
Welcome back, Dave. I know the big Kamala news came out before you did your boycott on social media, but guess? Oh, so you didn't miss anything.
Welcome back, Dave. As you can see, the country has not burned to the ground yet, but I emphasize the word yet. Anyway, it'll be fine. Welcome back.
Dave, welcome back, man. I hope you got a ton of sleep because between now and the end of the year, it's about to get weird. Welcome back.
Dave, welcome back. It's Alex Michelson in California. During your time away, this state finally cut taxes, cut regulation, and dealt with the root causes of homelessness. Not quite. Maybe next year.
Dave Rubin was gone?
Welcome back, Dave. Don't worry, you didn't miss much.
Welcome back to The Grid, Dave. The world somehow managed to survive while you were offline. I hope you at least enjoyed a nice margarita in a certain nice treetop bar.
Welcome back, Dave. Hope you had a good time away, and I hope you ate a lot of red meat, a lot of good steaks and burgers, maybe some raw milk while you were away, because you're going to need your strength when you hear about what has happened since you've been gone. But the good news is there is now a national... That's a great thing. Welcome back, Dave.
Hello, Dave. I hope I have grown to be a good and trusted friend. And if so, take my advice. You don't have any idea what happened in the last 30 days. Stay unplugged, Dave. Stay unplugged.
Assalamu alaikum, Dave. Welcome back from your holiday. It's your friend Winston Marshall greeting you from the Islamic People's Republic of England, the United Kingdom. 2 months into Sir Keir Starmer, peace be upon him, his premiership, and it's been flawless. No notes really.
So Dave, welcome back from your 6-month vacation. I mean, it's only a month, but during election year, a month is 6 months, maybe even longer. Obviously, nothing's happened the last month. There's been nothing to cover anyways. And by the way, this whole life of rich and famous you're living, as you're getting famous and rich and wealthy, do not forget the small people in your life who are wanting to hear what you have to say about all the crazy things that have been going on in the last month. It's good to see you coming back and getting to work. Take care, buddy.
Hey, Dave. Welcome back. Hope your time off the grid has made you like the great monastics and scholars and, frankly, anyone who lived before the internet back in the past, better able to see and live true to what really matters. Onward and upward.
Dave, welcome back. Boy, have we missed you. You know, I'm in Israel now. I'm coming back tonight. Been here the whole summer. Taking shots at all our favorite bad guys. Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. You know, all the guys that we don't like. And doing it without you, buddy. So let's get back together and do great things.
Hey man, heard you got snipped at the DNC, and that's why you were gone this entire time. So glad you got that taken care of. And now that you're back, you know, you can ease right back into things. We're expecting a pretty quiet couple of months. Don't think the news is going to be all that crazy. So very glad to have you back on the grid.
Oh, hey, Dave. Remember that time that you said I was the best Uber and Lyft driver ever? Yeah, I do. You didn't tip me. And then when I told you I was moving down to the free state of Florida to be your neighbor, I mean, kind of, I can't quite afford that, but you know, someday you have hashtag goals, and you said, whatever you need, and I'm like, yeah, I need help packing. This is a disaster. Where are you, Dave? And oh yeah, one more thing, maybe the most egregious. Twice now, you've offered to make me your specialty, Wagyu. I'm hungry. Where's my steak? Where are you, Dave Rubin? I have a lot of questions, and I'm about to get some answers from you. Like, now. P.S. I like it medium rare.
Wow.
You have a lot of friends in the business.
Wow, look at that. I feel like this is my retirement show now.
I was going to say,
this is it.
Actually, he's dead, and that's what we're going to show sometime.
Yeah. This is a pre-tape. I actually was
so
eaten
funny.
by the
Real
vulture.
quick, can we explain the bleeping, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it was, hey, quick video. I didn't listen. I'm sorry. It was way too long. Sorry, Phoenix. And you're not supposed to give the news. This is all a surprise, and everybody's giving the news. So I thought it was brilliant. They just bleeped everything out that Kilmeade and PBD said. You just got to bleep it out because I get to break the news.
I have a crack
So do you
staff.
feel loved?
I thought since the Kilmeade one was the first one with the bleep, I thought that was him just being funny.
Yeah, me too.
And now I see what's going on here.
It's
so
Phoenix cussing all of us out. Yes.
I guess I missed some stuff.
You missed some stuff. Are
All
you
right,
ready?
Ease me back in.
Oh
lady.
no, there's no easing you back in. I mean, you kind of know where we have to start, right?
Well, I assume that Kamala is still the Democratic nominee for president.
She's still there.
And there was a coup that I assume no one's
I like that
talking
you
about
still
anymore.
say Kamala, by the way.
Yeah.
On August 6th, 2024.
Oh, is that racist? It's racist to call her Kamala?
It's
She's
definitely
Kamala?
racist,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
August 6th, 2024. That was the day that Kamala Harris named her running mate.
Are we?
Yeah, I'm just making sure. Like,
Yeah,
we're getting
so my
there.
guess.
So do you want to guess?
Yeah.
Go.
Well, my guess before the day when I did my goodbye show, I thought it was going to be Josh Shapiro, who's the governor of Pennsylvania, swing state. He comes off as a bit of a moderate, so I thought that made the most sense. The only thing that I can guess is that it's not maybe it's him, I don't know. But the only thing I guess is it can't be Gavin Newsom because too many people came up to me at the airport or whatever, being like, Dave, you're off the grid, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like if it had been Gavin Newsom, there's just no way people could have hid that from me, like at Whole Foods.
There would have been an implosion.
And I also think spiritually, I would have felt something. I would have felt a disturbance in the force. So my guess is it's Josh Shapiro. That would be, yeah. But I don't think it really matters. If they're just all interchangeable, nothing. So.
I think it kind of matters, and the answer is no. It's not Josh Shapiro, and many people say that's because he's Jewish and all the things that are happening over in Israel, Gaza, etc. So not Josh.
Hamas supporting base. Yeah.
It is. Drum roll, please.
Yeah.
The 41st governor of the North Star State of Minnesota, Tim Walz. He's like Tim Walz is the running mate to be the vice president if and when Kamala, what's her name?
Harris.
Kamala Harris
Yeah.
ends up calling 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue her home. Tim Walz, your reaction.
Walz. Wow.
Did you know who he was?
Like, I guess I sort of know the name. What did I just say? Wentz? Like, I know he's somebody.
Yeah.
Like, he's just kind of, what is he,
there.
65 and white? Like
White, yes, definitely. Governor since 2019. I mean, very, very left. For example, when we've talked about the transgender issue and kids and cutting off body parts and stuff and having parents have a say in that, he said he would veto anything that came to his desk.
Wow, so they really went that direction.
They went all
did
the
not
way.
go,
correct.
We're going to pretend. Like, at least with Kamala, the first time it was pretending, or with Biden, it was pretending, and then Kamala kind of supposedly moderated a little bit from her really Marxist stuff. Oh, well, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, I can't say that moved me emotionally or politically in any way whatsoever. It just doesn't matter. They're just interchangeable parts. Like, it's just like, oh, you just took another one of these people who is just part of the, like, are people excited about this? Well,
no, there was a lot of Googling.
Media,
Like, who is he?
Yeah, did everyone, right.
Yeah. And there was some disappointment, I think, fair to say, when Shapiro was not chosen. And then you thought, gosh, well, that would have been smart, based on him being outspoken about being a Jew, but also just in Pennsylvania, of all states. I mean, arguably the most important state for either candidate to win. And she went away from him. So
what's the narrative? That's what I was thinking a lot about over the month, was what narratives will I have missed? Because it's not really about what happens, right? Like, it's not like, oh, she chose Tim Wiltz, what's his name, Walz, whatever. It literally does not matter. They're just cogs in a system. You could have picked any one of these people. They are all the same. They're barely people. They're NPCs, non-playable characters. That's what they are.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But so I'm more interested in the narrative around it. Is the narrative like, oh, the progressives are here now, they've taken over the party, there's the energy, and like,
so
is that it?
A lot of energy that we'll talk about that we felt, they, whomever out there in the stratosphere, especially during the Democratic National Convention, and energy and joy. That was the key word out of Chicago. There's a lot of joy, and we'll leave that there until we get there. One thing that, I mean, Walz has been kind of, not just kind of crushed, because of this stolen valor issue. So basically, he enlisted at 17, Army National Guard. He served for 24 years, and he did well, Command Sergeant Major. But he also talked about being a war veteran. He did not go to war. That's a big deal. You don't accidentally say that, ever. And we've seen this before. I mean, you've heard about, coaches in the past who say,
Yeah.
oh yeah, no. This is a man who's now running for the second most powerful position in our country. And of course he didn't say that recently, but it's documented.
So
He's been asked
has he
about
walked it back? Yeah,
he has tried to walk it back, which again, we can listen to a little bit later. But people are pissed. Rightfully so. Veterans, there's a difference.
Yeah.
And by the way, people have been very grateful. Thank you for your 24 years of service. That absolutely matters, representing our country.
Yeah.
But my dad served 23 years at West Point, career Army officer, colonel. One thing my dad struggles with is that he actually never went to war. He was not called up to go to Vietnam coming out of West Point, and nothing, with Operation Iraqi Freedom, anything else. And he actually has guilt for that because he feels like he never fully went out with his brothers and defended our country. This guy pretended like he did and was fine with it.
Right.
And that's an issue. So that's the biggest topic, I think, that has surrounded him ever since. He came to the DNC and gave, an interesting speech, but it's the why behind him, and it's, I think, because she can remain that person. She can remain the big dog, right?
So you just
she can remain Kamala.
So you just kind of choose a nobody in a weird way to make it like she is this thing.
Because if it had been Gavin, there would have been all the attention on him, and I think even as well with Shapiro a little bit.
Yeah, as I said, I tried not to think about politics when I was gone. I had to train my brain a little bit, right? Because this is what I do all the time and what people want to talk to me about and all that. But as I said, I was thinking about the narrative stuff, and around her, it's like, so I'm guessing the whole thing about the Biden coup is just done. Like it's not even discussed anymore.
It's not even discussed.
It's like we forget about the assassination attempt.
Correct.
But now also that they literally installed this woman when above their, like I really did think about that. Like, what do you really do with that? Like, and it's just gone, and that's where. You have to give the machine credit.
Yes,
you got to give them credit. You may not like what they do. It's the alien from the Alien movies that I'm always talking about. You may not like what the alien does, but the doctor on the ship likes the alien.
Yeah.
He respects him because he's mercilessly accomplishing what he wants to accomplish. The fact they pulled off a coup and now no one talks about it. And now Tim Walz,
Tim Walz. Yeah. There was some talk leading up to it that it would be Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan, which would have been interesting.
She's
to
a Disney
women
villain right there.
That would have been disastrous in many ways, but they would have, for those people who like the low-hanging fruit and just the bullet points that MSNBC or anybody will drop, oh my gosh, 2 women. It's already historic with Kamala, a woman of color, and a woman VP. Oh my God. So thank goodness it wasn't her, and that would have been, as far as her politics and her policies, it probably would have been equal to Mr. Walz. Not too much excitement, but they're crushing him on the fact that, stolen valor. There's a lot of things you can get away with, not that. Don't do that, period.
Hopefully the thing is, and trust me now that I stepped away for a month, that you see, is that they can lie and lie and lie and lie, and all we can do in a weird way is know that they're lying, right? Like that's almost, in some ways, that's the best you can do. You can know that they're lying, you can make fun of it and everything else, but in a weird way, they win constantly because we're in like a vortex with these people who will lie about literally everything, right?
Yeah.
And everyone watching this knows, from very fine people, and the list goes on, right? And they lie and lie about everything, and all we're doing, because the rest of us that are just like decent human beings, are just trying to live our life.
That's it.
So because we're not obsessed by that thing that they are, that like shiny lie machine or whatever you want to call it, they will just drag us to hell with them. So I'm glad maybe if some of the lies occasionally get exposed a little bit faster.
But no one cares. There were countless lies told in Chicago for the DNC. Joe Biden got up there and spoke. There were so many lies.
Joe Biden spoke at the DNC? They brought him out there.
He did speak, yes. Wow. And there's a story around that, too.
Oh, God.
But, there's so many lies told, but nobody cared. Because why? Because there was joy. It was a beautiful thing. Okay, a couple other things. July 31st, you had just gone off the grid.
Okay.
Miss Kari Lake, she won her Senate GOP primary in Arizona.
Oh, I guess I missed that. That was my last day. Okay.
Was that your last day, the 31st?
31st was my last day, yeah.
Not a shock to me that she won, but now her next challenge will be certainly more of a challenge. This one, a week later, a member of the squad officially lost her primary.
Oh, God. So this is good. Something good actually happened? Wait. A member of the squad, the only one who was running, well, I know Ilhan was running because of that crazy rally. Rashida, I don't think was, no, wait, they were all running the same year. Oh, God, please tell me it's one of the.
Bush.
Oh, Cori Bush. Well, she's just like a slightly less evil. She's just like a stupider version of them.
Slightly less evil. Okay,
yeah, those
fine,
two are like, I would put in like.
Would I rather be called less evil or stupid? I don't know.
No, she's
Or
just
less
like the stupid one.
So
all
she
right.
lost.
All right. I would have preferred one of the evil ones, but I'll play. Oh, that's great. That's great. We got rid of Jamal Bowman. We got rid of her. All right.
Right?
All right.
Big deal.
Wow, something good did happen.
8 days later,
Yeah.
back down. Ilhan Omar. She won. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I guess we're not shocked with some of these people because if she's gotten to this point, there's obviously way too many people who not only trust her, but choose to overlook true evil, actually.
Yeah. She also married her brother, but I guess they're not too worried about that.
No big deal.
Yeah. Big whoop, you know. Who are we to judge?
I know. We're not going to be, at least not today. For the next hour, we're not going to be judgy.
All right, but I'll take that as a net win. I wouldn't, great.
I mean,
okay,
overall,
we got one of them.
Overall,
great.
Yes. Okay, so the state of the U.S. presidency, again, a lot to dive into with this one. So we're going to start here. Russia has released Wall Street Journal reporter, also former Marine, in a prisoner swap. So I can't even see. Look, this is where you're not quite, Dave. So fascinating, right? Because there's no movement, but then all of a sudden we have the reporter released and a former Marine in a prisoner swap. Your first reaction.
Well, what did we swap them for?
What did we swap them for?
Wouldn't I need to know that?
Hold on. We're still learning exactly what we swapped them for, but it was interesting because Joe Biden boarded a plane back to Moscow during the hostage exchange. So take a look at this video here, because it was actually a very confusing moment here. So U.S. citizens freed from Russia. Joe Biden gets on the plane, Dave.
Okay.
Like, we're leaving, and he gets...
This is the day I got off the grid, so it's day one now. So.
And he gets on the plane, and Kamala and everybody standing there like, wait, what's going on? What's going on?
Wait,
he realized it, and they came back off the plane, but everybody was afraid to go up and grab him. He just wandered off on his own on the plane.
So that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the swap itself. That's just a general Biden.
Well, that's a Biden-ism. Yes.
That is one thing that I did think about a bit, like how much are they going to hide him? Right? I'm shocked that he spoke to the DNC.
Well, yeah, and we'll get to that. He absolutely has been hidden.
What an utter fiasco.
So you're in the middle of trying to figure this out and swap prisoners, and then Biden just goes off on his own. So. But
just to be clear, so there was a reporter and a Marine?
And a Marine.
And we don't know what we traded them for.
That we received back. No. Am I missing it? Do we know?
No.
Right now, no.
All right, well, I'm sure it's
that's
not
the thing.
good.
Nothing has been the
the
transparency of the presidency of the White House. No, but in the meantime, you have the leader of the free world, right? Just wandering off. And to me, we talked about this before. It's a little bit heartbreaking, a little bit sad to see that happening. And everybody just stands there and allows it to happen and doesn't even help the poor man, right?
Maybe this is not the deeply spiritual part of my month off, but I'm kind of over the sad part of Joe Biden. Like, this is all so evil. It was a coup. They're pushing this guy. He's not in charge. Like, it's so obvious. Maybe I just spent enough time away that I am so behind that curtain right now.
He was on your schedule with his vacation, actually. He's just now reappearing, apparently.
Yeah.
And speaking of the coup, it's so interesting because Miss Nancy Pelosi, like, we always thought what was happening behind the scenes is that people like Nancy were kind of, pecking away, saying, hey, something has to happen. She actually opened up about her influence on Biden's decision to step out of the presidential race. And President Joe Biden, a couple days later, actually confirmed that he was pushed out by top Democrats who apparently staged this coup. We eventually did hear from the president about it. Listen to this.
Oh, my God.
I love him so much. I think he's been really a fantastic president of the United States. So I really wanted him to make a decision of a better campaign, because they were not facing the fact of what was happening. Just a little background.
It was like
I've never been that impressed with his political operation.
Biden's operation.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I just haven't been. They won the White House. Bravo. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But so my concern was, this ain't happening. And we have to make a decision for us this to happen, and the president has to make the decision for that to happen. Let me just say, I won't say necessarily I knew what I was doing at that time. I knew what I was doing in the whole thing, not just that shit.
And what was that?
That Donald Trump would never set foot in the White House again.
Look, the polls we had showed that it was a neck-and-neck race. Would have been down to the wire. But what happened was a number of my Democratic colleagues in the House and Senate thought that I was going to hurt them in the races. And I was concerned if I stayed in the race, that would be the topic. You'd be interviewing me about why did Nancy Pelosi say, why did so? And I thought it'd be a real distraction.
God, it's so pathetic. It's so profoundly pathetic having stepped away from it for a little while.
She flat out admitted, I will do whatever it takes to make sure Donald Trump does not return to the White House. And then he acknowledged it there, too.
You don't have to admire what they do, but you have to admire how they do it. I mean, it was legitimately a coup. They pushed that man. And also, again, I have no sympathy anymore for Joe Biden. I'm so past that.
I know. I need to be tougher.
No. I have sympathy for people that have cognitive issues and all that stuff, and everyone gets there one day, and we've all had grandparents and all that.
Sure.
But like, I'm so over that thing. But the fact that they are so, it's the reason it's evil is they are saying to their voters, we don't give a flying F about
Correct.
you. We will steal it, we'll do what we gotta do, and you will eat it up. And then their voters are like, yes, we will eat it up. Because I'm guessing, and I swear to God, I have no sense, I'm guessing the polls are either neck and neck right now, or Kamala's up a little bit. Because that's how good the
poll,
machine.
but basically a dead even heat at this point. Yep. But
evil.
for
And
a person who never, not a single primary vote, nothing. She is just magically there. It's incredible. Also incredible, depends on who you ask, was the DNC, the convention in Chicago, and it started on August 19th. And I need you to be prepared to grasp how the first headline to come out of Chicago, and I thought it was fake. Just outside of, United Center, wherever it is, downtown Chicago, a couple of trucks, free abortions, free vasectomies, just outside of the festivities. So if you're there to celebrate Kamala and Tim Walz, and you found out you're knocked up, it's okay. Just get an abortion right outside in a truck and a vasectomy.
They didn't throw free Palestine in there too? Free abortions, free vasectomy, free Palestine.
All of the above was present at the DNC. I thought that sounds fake. It sounds like a fake headline. No. Free abortions in a truck outside. It was real, Dave.
I fully believe it. I don't think you're punking me. I don't think
Okay. I was shocked and appalled. And so the first full day was that Monday, and that is when Joe Biden spoke. Now, usually the last day is Kamala on Thursday, Donald Trump on Thursday of the RNC. So they took the sitting president and put him on Monday. It was also supposed to start, prime time. He didn't take the podium till 11:20 p.m. Eastern time, when he's told people he's got to go to bed by 8 o'clock. Like, it was shocking.
Oh, and do we have video? How bad was it?
We don't have video. Do we have video of Biden?
No, it's all right.
No. You don't need video of Biden, basically. It was brutal, though. And I just think, again, Kamala, don't you want the sitting president, like your guy who said he was going to endorse her, to intro her on Thursday? No. They said put him Monday. They'll forget about him by Thursday onward. So he was pushed out of that. And then how about this? This is on the Wednesday, I guess, of the convention. CNN's Dana Bash, not Dana, pronounce it right, said the Harris-Walz campaign is tailoring their message to appeal to low testosterone men by using second gentleman Doug Emhoff and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Listen to Dana Bash.
But they are doing so in trying to put forward male figures, Tim Walz being one of them, Doug Emhoff last night, who can speak to men out there who might not be the sort of testosterone-laden, gun-toting kind of guy who wants to listen to Hulk Hogan and the kind of players that came out of the RNC.
God, they are. Well, first off, I think that's actually probably true what she's saying. That
gross.
They want these effeminate soy boy, loser, ineffectual nobodies because the women are running the show in a weird way. Oh God, who would even want that? You know what is funny? I will tell you this, that one thing that I did notice, again, I was really trying not to do, I was getting politics out of my brain all month, but like when I was at the store or whatever, you really can just look at people and figure out which way they vote now because
100%.
of exactly that.
No, 100%.
When you see just kind of this little pathetic, very thin, frail man, you're like, oh, that's a Democrat. And then you just see like a normal dude, and it's like, oh, he's probably, it's not even that he's a Republican, he's just somewhat sane.
Just common sense.
But
that's what it is.
That is quite
But I just thought, and as a journalist, to sit there at that forum, and she was reaching and trying to make it make sense that those are the guys that they're leading with. We saw Lionel McGloin earlier. I love him. I guess I'm a little late to the party, right? He's so brat, right? He went to the DNC in Chicago, and he was on the floor. He was outside covering some of the protests. He was a blast to watch. Here's an example.
Would you rather have a democracy or access to abortions?
Either or. I feel like that's a very tough question to answer. I feel like that's almost not possible to answer. I feel like I couldn't pick one or the other.
Even if you had to choose?
I had to choose.
Can we get a final answer? I know it's hard.
I guess access to abortions.
It's Brat Summer! The queen of the brats has arrived! Yes, queen!
Elon posted his video.
Are you as hard as I am?
Yes.
Wait, so Brat?
She's something special. Can we please, this year, it'd be so brat, have a higher tax rate for rich white men?
Well, if we have a Democratic Congress, we certainly will.
Yeah, baby. Even more beautiful in person.
Oh, I love him.
Watch this.
I love you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Give me your best pickup line.
My best pickup line, I'll pay.
Who are the cuties in the Democratic Party that are speaking?
I don't know. Talk to anyone who lives in D.C. It's hard to find a cute Democrat.
Oh my God, shots fired. Free abortion.
Yes, queen.
Free gender-affirming care for migrants.
Yes, queen.
Child tax credits for dogs.
Yes, queen.
Ban standardized testing.
Yes, queen.
Oh yeah, like my ADD is so crazy. Get rid of those things, please. She's a yes queener. My girlfriend needs to get an abortion. Could you help me cover it up? Romeo, we're for out there, Romeo. Who do you think has a bigger
that's
lightsaber?
disappointing. JJ's
Donald
a Democrat,
Trump or
I
Joe
guess.
Biden? So some Gen Z doubters of Kamala have noted her record persecuting people for weed. I'm a stoner. I use it for PTSD. Do you think that era is so over? She's so over that?
I think that even in the period of the Biden-Harris administration, they have been working very hard in order to say no.
What about like Coke and stuff?
Excuse me?
What about like Coke?
In her, I would have to look at it, but...
The best Kamala laugh.
What?
Oh my God, she has the best laugh.
Joy. We love joy. We're all about joy. But, okay, how do we guarantee equity of joy?
I love him, right?
Yeah,
It
he's
all
great.
seems like an SNL skit.
But parody is dead. You understand? Like parody is actually dead because it has taken over, and parody is reality. Did Ed Markey just come out for Coke? Like what? Oh my God!
know,
But was the whole thing just an utter shit show? Protests and bananas and pandering to the loonies. And was there anything sane? Did anything sane happen at the DNC? Did they? I assume they burned an effigy of Jesus. Like did anything sane happen?
The one sane thing, I think the one special moment that everybody agreed is when the parents of one of the kids who was held captive in Gaza came to the podium and asked and begged for them to release him and just for
at the Democrat convention they did that. Wow, without getting booed.
They were cheering emphatically, which has been interesting now to see a little bit of a shift. So that was the one moment where I thought, where I thought they realized they got to soften on this and it can't just be pro-Palestine. Like, come on, guys, So I thought that was by far the best moment. Oprah spoke. And that was, of course,
she came out
we
of
all
the
are
forest
smarter
where she's
because
always
of it.
eating bread. Yeah.
One thing that did not happen, which everybody said was happening, and it was like, oh my gosh, the internet was abuzz. Beyonce was going to perform at the DNC, and I don't know if that was Wednesday or Thursday, the last night. It was this whole big deal. She didn't show up. Taylor Swift was rumored to. She didn't show up. So everybody was like, wait, what? You did this for ratings. Thanks a lot.
So who'd they get? Who'd they get? Anybody?
I don't even know, who did they have musically? Huh?
Just Oprah.
Yeah, just Oprah. No musical. Yeah, but like that was the bit. Would have made sense, right? Couldn't you have seen, especially Taylor? Like we know how they lean. Nobody came, but so people were livid that they thought they just threw it out there to attract ratings and whatever. Okay, Kamala's speech, during her speech, it was, I would love, first of all, the way she talked, I mean, I'll get your reaction in a second, but she said a lot of things that raised some eyebrows, including claiming that Trump will jail his political opponents. Watch.
Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists who assaulted those law enforcement officers at the Capitol. His explicit intent to jail journalists, political opponents, and anyone he sees as the enemy.
Sage, let me just be clear. She's evil. This thing is evil. There's no other way to say it. It just is. And the only way we're going to get out of the lie thing that we talked about earlier is if we just call it what it is. Everything they accuse us of, everything that they say is the reverse of the truth. They're trying to jail Donald Trump. Didn't she pay the bail or got bail money for people who burned down cities during the Summer of Love? Kamala herself.
2020,
Oh, it's evil. It's evil. We have to think of a new way to confront this, like a new
Biden
new
even brought up
psychological way
Charlottesville in his speech.
And they don't mind doing it.
It was so angry, like for the joy-filled DNC. It was so angry. And I agree with you at this point. There's no other way to describe it other than evil, because when you knowingly continue to spew lies. Now listen, I'm not saying the right is perfect at all.
Of course
but it's
not.
certainly not to this level. When you had the fact checkers go back, the Democrats won in that category as far as the lies. Yeah, exactly.
But so Biden again did Charlottesville. It's like they have because they know they can keep doing it.
But that's where I think I'm shocked, because are that many Americans that stupid, like or gullible, just to say, okay, we've seen the full context of what he was saying in Charlottesville, but they continue to ignore it. And the Democrats say, well, why wouldn't we stop? Because people are believing us. So they are smart to continue to put this out there, plain and simple.
That's the alien analogy I used before. Like, you got to admire the game that they're doing.
Absolutely.
But I would say there's another layer to it, real quick. I know we got to move on, which is that a lot of the people that came up to me this month, wherever I was, even playing basketball, a lot of people are telling me that they're just checking out, like they can't take it anymore. And I think that may be another piece of what they're doing. So they're lying to a certain amount of people just to get them to vote for them. But if they can also just get good people to just check out, that's like a double hit, right? So you get confused people to vote for lies, and then you get good people to just not care anymore because they're like, you know what, I can't take this anymore. You people just keep doing this over and over. And I get that. I fully get it.
Totally.
These are generally happier people.
Yeah, actually, you're right. But we choose to be miserable, apparently, right? Okay, the state of the campaign, the Harris campaign, this is so interesting because I hate the phrase second gentleman.
Yeah.
We're giving him way too much credit. By the way, pretty much for anybody. But her husband...
Can't we just call him low T guy? Isn't that he's low T Johnny?
Kamala Harris's husband admits to getting the nanny pregnant during his first marriage. Admitted it. Well, so cheating on his first wife. They were married. They have 2 kids, 2 adult children. And then Kamala / Mamala ended up being the stepmom, Mamala, to the kids. The relationship's all beautiful, but that's why they got divorced.
You're telling me that man can maintain an erection?
That's not anything that I've thought about, actually. No, thank you. But he admitted it, and it's fine. And they said, we vetted him. Like, I mean, everybody, the Democrats vetted him before Kamala even ran for vice president.
He just admitted himself, like they knew a story was going to break.
They knew a story was coming, yes.
The
and all they said, well, what happened to the baby? And the answer was, she did not keep it. But we don't know if that means she gave it up for adoption or it was aborted. No one knows. So anyway, onward, no big deal. That's why I like the term second gentleman for him based on that story alone.
Oh, such a gentleman.
Yeah,
such a gentleman banging the nanny.
And then she snapped at one point. She was at a rally in Detroit, and there were pro-Palestine protesters there, and she was livid. She had them like escorted out of the building, actually. We have video of that one, right? Yeah, like so interesting to see her get angry.
Wow,
just watch this.
See. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then she had them all arrested and put away for life.
It was funny to see her before that clip, even just fuming. I could see her breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Like she was livid that somebody would dare interrupt her speech.
Think how entitled she must feel right now. They literally handed this thing to her. As you said, nobody voted for her. In effect, they canceled a primary. They do their coup. And now she still doesn't have everybody. So now it's so ironic. You really have to love the sort of mystery of the universe that she could be in that situation and now have to be at odds with the base of her own party in some respect.
I was thinking about that.
There's something really, really poetically beautiful about that.
It is, but it's not happening nearly enough.
No, it probably has. We got to double it and triple it.
I would love to see the continued meltdowns because she does not know how to handle it unless there is a crowd, a good crowd, a loving crowd. But one protester, and she's like, this makes me sick. It doesn't even really make sense at this point, but she is mandating people who work on her campaign to have the COVID vaccine. It is September.
That is genuinely psychotic.
Of 2024.
I think it might be illegal. There must be a legal fight over that, right? She's a in public office.
I think that any private employer, I don't know where that falls with the campaign, is allowed to do whatever they want to do. I mean, has that changed? Because that's what happened to me at Disney ESPN. It was mandated. They could do whatever the hell they wanted, and I had a decision to make. But to work on her, that was 2021 at least.
Right.
This is 3 years later where we all know it doesn't work, and she's requiring that of her employees.
Well, because you know what it is. It's not about COVID. What it is I only want to hire people who will bow to me.
Control.
And if I can get you to inject yourself with something that quite literally either does nothing or maybe will kill you, then I'm pretty sure I have control over you. We have a mandate here. You cannot be vaxxed.
If you are vaxxed, you're not allowed to work.
If you are vaxxed, you are not allowed to work here. We will take you out.
I love it.
That's so psychotic. But again, I'm just telling you, there's nothing in these beautiful blue papers that you have there that could be too psychotic. That was my takeaway for the month. Like whatever I was going to come back with, no matter how insane they've gone, no matter what interchangeable parts of Waltz or Wentz and the guy banging the nanny and the soy boy.
See, this is the sports boy, Carson Wentz. You're thinking about football because it's football season now. But
that's what I'm calling him for now. I'm calling her Kamala and he's Wentz. And that's it. And there is just nothing psychotic enough.
To me, the psychotic part was the free abortions in a truck outside. That's the only part. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised. My bar should have been much, much lower. This part pissed me off too. Okay. I'm sorry to my mom who's probably watching. Now you're gonna make me say Kamala just to like. She is stealing.
What else
President
is she stealing?
Trump's tax policies. Were you around when he said, this is in like June when he said, I'm not going to tax you on tips in Las Vegas? Okay, just watch this.
Oh, God.
Because when I get to office, we are going to not charge taxes on tips, people making tips.
Eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
But again, this is what they do with everything. It's like the border wall, right? Like suddenly when Trump was wanting a wall, it was racist. Then they open it up and now they want a wall again. So suddenly it's not racist. Kids in cages. Everything is a lie. Everything. Not most of it. Not 99.9%.
And she went right back to Las Vegas where he said it almost exactly 2 months later and said the same thing. And it's like, and guess what I'm going to do? And they all cheered. So again, you got to put it back on the American people for being suckers in that way too. But it ends up being, to me, it isn't even about that as much as it's about TDS. And whatever it takes to make sure he doesn't get in.
Well, it's like, Kamala, if you actually cared about workers, what you would do is lower taxes on everybody, because if everyone had more of their own money in their own pocket, they could spend it as they wish and create new businesses and things of that nature. But they never want to do that, right?
Correct.
They never want to lower taxes. They want to somehow trick you into thinking that giving you back your own money is them being Santa Claus.
I know, you get all excited for that return you get. But P.S. She's basically running the country now. Why are you waiting until January to do that?
Oh, that's interesting. Why isn't it like being forced for Biden to do right now?
Yeah, by Obama or whoever it is. That's pulling the strings at this point. You mentioned the border wall, and she's done it. She's done a 180. She's done a 180 on that.
Oh, we're getting a border? We're getting a border?
We're getting a border.
Hot damn.
But so along with the taxes and tips, which is a big deal, she now says, yeah, we need a wall. Because remember, as soon as he came into office, they stopped any construction on that. And look at what has happened since then. But now all of a sudden she's acknowledging it. This is the border czar who says, no, I never was the border czar, but she was the border czar. So
I mean, she was the border czar. It's in the official government documents.
Still
the word czar.
Right. So again, they could stop it now and choose not to. So when I'm in office, on that note, so interesting because she waited 39 days from the moment she became the one taken over for Biden until the day she actually sat down for an interview. It took her 39 days, her first interview. It was originally 41 minutes. This is just last Thursday. This just happened. We were waiting and waiting and waiting. No press conferences, no interviews until last Thursday. 41 minutes long. Reports came out that, I mean, the whole thing only lasted 18 minutes of what we got to see. And there are reports saying that they were, her team was behind the scenes saying, chop this, chop that, chop this. We got 18
that's not
minutes. And the interviewer, Dana Bash from CNN, once again, a very friendly interviewer. And here, I mean, this is the very beginning of the interview. Take a look.
If you are elected, what would you do on day one in the White House?
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you, first and foremost, one of my highest priorities is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at the aspirations, the goals, the ambitions of the American people, I think that people are ready for a new way forward, in a way that generations of Americans have been fueled by hope and by optimism.
Let me get this straight. That's the stuff they left in?
They had to leave that one in because it was the first question.
What are you going to do on day one? The hopes and aspirations of generation. Like, she's so... I'm trying to be.
No, but it was shocking to me because when you're doing all this preparation, by the way, if you have 39 days to prepare, you better damn well know what you're going to say to that basic question. Like when I interviewed RFK Jr. on my show, that was one of the first things I asked him. Like it's a no-brainer. That's nothing.
Right.
And you can't
It's like I'm going to sign
that.
border executive actions.
Yes.
I'm like there's so many obvious things. I'm going to rip up this accord, or I'm going to
pick up the phone and talk to Netanyahu. I'm going to do all these things. Something. And that was the answer, and that was shocking. And again, to your point, 18 minutes of the 41. That's what we got to see.
Even that.
Oh
right
wait,
there.
but you know what? I'm sorry to interrupt you. You know
No.
what you didn't get to see in that clip?
About 23
she wasn't
minutes
alone.
apparently.
She wasn't alone. Tim Walz was sitting next to her the entire time. So if you're the soon-to-be hopeful president of the United States, you should be able to do a one-on-one interview by yourself.
Yeah.
So Megyn Kelly, everybody calls it that was her security blanket, and Megyn actually on her show picked up her big white blanket the entire thing. It's like they did chat with him, and then when he was asked about the stolen valor thing, he said his wife describes it as him having like a grammatical error.
Oh, yes, yes.
So that's the most memorable thing of what he said. But shocking that a hopeful president can't do an interview alone, and then we only get 18 minutes.
Well, first off, that in and of itself, we'll try to hit this more tomorrow, but that in and of itself, that you tape an interview, you tell people it's 41 minutes, and you only air 18 minutes.
Well, they didn't tell people. That leaked out. All we got was 18.
Right, so that's obviously right. Like, they're not going to tell it. It somehow leaks. You know it's going to get out. That's the point.
Right.
Like, that's evil. That is journalistic malpractice, but we don't have journalists. Dana Bash or Dana Bosch or Walter Wentz. These people are not journalists. You are actors in a screenplay that is being written in front of all of us, and they're just playing the part of those people. But get me that 23 minutes.
I want to see it, right? What was chopped out and why?
Yeah.
And I want follow-ups. Like, there were a lot. You had to watch the whole thing now. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. But at the end of the day, like, that's part of the journalist's job, is you got to follow up on some of the times when they don't answer, and immediately, instead of answering the question, blame it on Trump. Blame it on Trump. And that, hey, why not? It works. I liked your wide tent thing. It's so true. And there were a lot of those moments. So you know who Aiden Ross is, right? He's an influencer. Gen Z
he's
influencer.
like a gamer or something.
Yeah. So Aiden Ross and Donald Trump, they had some fun. They were in a MAGA wrapped Cybertruck, like Tesla Cybertruck, that Aiden gifted to Donald Trump. And they were in it listening to Elvis and dancing to YMCA. We have video proof just for you.
It's just, even that, it's just the 5 seconds.
The contrast.
He's just so much more real. He's orange with the crazy hair, and he's more authentic and real than any of these people.
Yes, it was awesome to see that. And we're like, wait, what? Aiden Ross is doing that in a MAGA-wrapped truck. It was awesome. It was classic.
That's nice to give a billionaire a Cybertruck.
Yeah, right?
Sweet,
I know. Yeah. How cool would it be to be able to give someone a Cybertruck? I'm just saying, goals, hashtag goals. On August 12th, Donald Trump returned to X. Back tweeting.
So that's something
yes,
big. All right.
But the way it happened was super cool. So he joined forces with Elon Musk to do an interview on his platform, right? The Spaces. It ended up being like almost 2 hours long. There were technical issues at the start, 34 minutes. I guess there was some cyber attack. But it ended up being really, really interesting. And of course, more than 18 minutes, that's for sure. Look.
Yes, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people. And it's an honor. We view that as an honor.
Again, he has no script in front of him. The guy can speak off the cuff. It doesn't matter whether you agree with him or not on everything. It's like that is way more the future that this country better become.
That's what they need.
Than the other thing, yeah.
And at the end of the day, even if you don't like the answers, at least the questions are being asked and he's giving the answers, and then you can make a judgment from there. We still are trying to figure out what her policies would be if she's in office. And that's the problem. Give us the information, allow us to judge, go through that whole democratic process. So love him or hate him, at least he's talking. And it was, well over 1 million at one point, of course, streaming and watching him on X. How about this though? So they're gonna work together. Like Elon, which
That's
not
so
a shock
great.
there, right?
It's so great.
I love it. He volunteers to serve on the Government Efficiency Committee to rein in wasteful spending if Trump is elected, and Trump has agreed to it. So bring on Elon, bring on Trump.
That is so wonderful to hear, and I said, like, what are the chances you're gonna give me some good news? Like, that is good news. One of my main things when I was supporting DeSantis way back when was that I was afraid Trump was not going to be able to get the right people.
Yes.
But now if you can get him, and there's another guy like David Sachs, you could start bringing in these people that can know how to build things, know how to build right teams and systems. It's like, then for the little eccentricities of Trump, that can be dealt with. So that's actually great.
They have to continue to do that this time. And you always take something from whatever you do in life, but certainly from 4 years in the White House. Well, how do you do it differently, better this time? And Elon Musk, as you know, has just gone all in and free speech. And that was ever since the assassination attempt. That's when he's like, okay, I'm Trump 2024.
Wow.
We need him, right? We need him so badly.
We had a check mark for good news. All right.
Another one? Maybe you tell me, Corey Lewandowski.
Yeah.
He's back.
Okay.
Trump has brought him back again for another stint. He was the 2016 campaign manager, of course, many of you know, and there was some controversy surrounding him, so he's brought him back.
Yeah, and then that seems good.
Good decision. Yeah. The wide tent thing, once again, comedian Theo Vaughn and Donald Trump sat down, and that one was also for 2 hours of that one too. Yeah. We have video proof.
No, I would just do cocaine. That was really, So
that's down and dirty, right?
Yeah, and it was.
But you don't anymore?
No, I don't do it anymore, man, and I'm not doing it.
Is it too much? Too much to handle?
Some of the stuff started to get a real rattle in it, too. I don't know where we were even getting it from in this country, but it started to make me feel like I was a mechanic or something.
So the thing you go back to then is alcohol for the most part.
Right, yeah, but what I want probably is cocaine, but I know that if I have a drink, then it'll be like, okay, well, I had a drink, then I can do this.
Is cocaine a stronger up?
Yeah. Cocaine
so you're way up with cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
Cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll be out on your own porch, and you'll be your own street lamp. You're freaking.
That is the most insane thing I have ever seen.
You have to go back and watch it. And then, of course,
I love how Trump is cocaine more of an up?
No, he literally was like the interviewer for a very long time there and asking the questions. And then Theo is just Theo, which is amazing. But Donald was talking about how he's never smoked a cigarette and had a drink and nothing. So those questions, he's genuinely curious about Theo's experience with Coke and mixing alcohol and all those things. It was classic. Like, how cool is that when you go from the youngster Aiden Ross to the comedian? He does not care with whom he speaks. Let's just go, let's just talk and show that I can go anywhere. I love it.
Trump does love Diet Coke, though. So it's
okay, that's fine.
Little
that's
different.
One thing.
No, but you're right. That's exactly the wide 10 thing I've been going for. It doesn't mean you're a Republican and I believe all of the things that Republicans and conservatives believe and exactly this on abortion or exactly this on that. It's like, do you think that America is decent? Do you? If you do, you probably have to vote Trump. That's just reality right now. Do you think our history is something that was good and worth fighting for? If you do, you have to vote Trump. Do you want a place where there can be an honest tension between liberalism and conservatism? That is Trump. Do you want states' rights? Do you want gun laws? Do you want the Bill of Rights? Like, these are things that the left is trying to demolish, and they will. So even if you just said the thing about if they were telling us the truth, it would be like a little more refreshing or something. It wouldn't even matter. To me, we know what they want. Yeah. They're doing it. And this is the chance. This is the big wide 10 chance. This is it. This really is it. Like, I don't know if that sounds alarmist or I've been checked out, but like, this is it.
No, I totally agree. Like, I've been talking, my oldest kid is in college and she's 22 and she's like, Mom, we're gonna sound like those crazy liberals, but if she wins, we gotta go. Yeah. And I'm like, I know, because to me, this is
Well, you're already
that
down here
cliff.
in Florida, so
I'm in the free state of Florida.
Yeah. We have extra defenses
A week from
here.
now, it will be officially official.
Yeah.
Okay, to continue with that, so we've got the comedians, we've got the influencers. Donald Trump Jr. Endorsed the idea, this was on August 21st, of RFK Jr. Joining the Trump administration and helping out. Yeah, okay,
Amazing.
So when Trump Jr. did that, that was the big deal. Potential CIA director, that was the news. And then, 2 days later, RFK announced he is suspending his campaign, throwing his support to Donald Trump in this election. So RFK Jr. is on the Trump train.
Wow. That's actually that's a wow. Is there?
That's a wow. That's a shocking one. Yes. And then
wow.
So we've heard it was going to happen. Then all of a sudden it culminates in Phoenix, Arizona, at a massive rally. And take a look at the way that Trump introduced RFK.
I don't think too many of you people have heard of him. He's very low key. He's a very low key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he deserves it. He deserves it.
Wow. So I assume then he spoke,
It
right?
was surreal. Yeah, it was surreal. He had spoken earlier. Was it earlier that same day? Yeah, and talked about just how disappointed he was in the Democrat Party, and of course going back to his family and his history there, but what they were versus what they had become. And on that note, I actually kind of went off on this on social media too, because then when this happened, his family crushed him.
Oh God!
Like disgusting. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised about this, but the level to which they went.
Videos about
yeah, I remember
already,
they were in Philadelphia on the stage with Biden back in like April or May, and sorry brother, sorry cousin, whatever it is, but we're going for Biden. So take a look at the statement that they put out, and this is by Kerry Kennedy. And to me, the last part there is the key. Our brother Bobby's decision to endorse Trump today is a betrayal of the values that our father and our family hold most dear. It is a sad ending to a sad story.
God, that is so pathetic, but it's not surprising by the family because they've been doing this. But that what you just showed me right there is good news. That is wide tent. You know, I put out a tweet a little bit before I went off the grid about what a Trump administration could look like. And I said, I don't know that I said RFK would be CIA director. I think maybe that is what I said.
Really?
CIA, I did say CIA director, but it was like he could be in charge of taking out the agencies or reforming the NIH, all that stuff. So this seems like a beautiful marriage. There'll obviously be some weird tensions there and all that stuff that always happens. But that's absolutely huge. I'm shocked that nobody said that to me. I'm shocked that that.
I know. Wow. I'm so. This is one of the things I was hoping that you hadn't heard in the airport when someone comes up to you. But when you talked earlier about people just saying, you know what, this is too much, I'm just going to stay away. To me, this is the move that makes people say, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I will stay in this. And if he has a choice. He could have gone on either side. Yeah. But to me, it was a no-brainer. If he's going to choose one, and at some point he would have to, because, I mean, Biden, they wouldn't even give him any Secret Service. They did nothing for him, and how the family, everybody's treated him. How could he go back to them at that point?
Also, keep in mind the forces against this guy, not only the history of the family. You know, his wife is Cheryl Hines from Curb Your Enthusiasm. She's a major Hollywood star. I did an event with him in L.A. Like, he's an LA guy.
Yes.
So for him to now be joining Trump, like, he's closing every door in his life. Put aside the politics, but like your own personal side. Just one other thing real quick on that. You know, the day that he announced that he was running for president as a Democrat, I said, I don't know if he'll be a Democrat. I said, I don't know if he'll be a Republican by the end of this, but I know he won't be a Democrat.
Right.
And now look at that. Look at that.
There's no way that he could. And interesting, by the way, because so he's taken his name off of many of the ballots in those swing states where it's close, but then has stayed on in others, which I don't know why. And people haven't asked him why with that. So is that pointing ahead to 2028, right? Like, just to see how he could fare in some of those states?
Or does he think that you stay on in certain states where you'll basically pilfer off Biden a little bit more, something like that? Like, that's interesting. That's
it's so
I'm getting some nods over there.
But it's funny because, like, even in the state of Michigan, it's so interesting because he's like, you know, okay, like, I'm just gonna get off the ballot here. Right. And now he had to fight to get on it, right? And Whitmer and all these people. And now they won't let him off the ballot.
God, that's so evil, you see?
It's clear as day, and no one's calling it out. You know what I mean? So it is interesting, though. Like, if you're suspending your campaign, then why stand any of them? Interesting. And then Tulsi Gabbard also officially endorsed Donald Trump. Well, so right now, you've got RFK. Yeah, that one is not as much of a surprise, certainly. You've got Tulsi named honorary co-chairs of Trump's 2024 transition team. I will say this, we have MAGA and we have MAHA as well. That's RFK. Make America healthy again. So his big message right now is, okay, parents and children and all the vaccines and all the crap that has happened over the last several years. And that, I think, will bring in some of those stragglers as people who are like, which way do I go? Trump annoys me, Biden, Harris, this. But if you're going to focus on the health and to not force me to vaccinate my kids, et cetera, I think his endorsement is massive.
Can I just say one quick thing about health? Just 20 seconds. This is away from politics for a moment. But, you know, I've been on this, like, carnivore thing and working out a lot and eating right. And my whole team, we've all been sort of kind of doing this together. So I'm really, like, I'm at probably the lowest weight I've been in and best shape and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not patting myself on the back. But I was a little worried about, like, my blood work and everything because I changed my diet so drastically. So I had my blood work done in July also for life insurance purposes and whatever, and everything came back like absolutely immaculate. And I was like, and I'm not like, and that's knock on wood right there, but like, I think if you do some work to like get yourself right, and he is trying to do that at the like countrywide level.
Yes, and educating us on so many things, and he is resonating. And Nicole Shanahan, of course, RFK Jr.'s running mate. Like they are all in on this, and I like it.
Wow,
MAGA and MAHA.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked only that it's positive. Like I'm not shocked that it happened actually.
I know.
But all right,
do you still want to do the video with Tulsi? Yes, this is officially when he named them co-chairs. Take a look.
Bobby and I will fight together to defeat the corrupt political establishment and return control of this country to the people.
And don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country, who's going to protect America's freedoms, that's going to make America healthy again?
I think what RFK's endorsement really shows is that the Kennedy Democrats are actually more at home in the Republican Party of Donald Trump.
Today I'm honored to officially welcome another true American patriot.
Whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent, if you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work of saving our country and serving the people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Wow, Sage, I have to say, I'm actually elated. I feel a little something that just lifted off my chest about politics. That's what I've been screaming about for the last 3 years. This is what you've got to do. And the line by JD there, that is so right. Remember, Ronald Reagan, I didn't leave the Democrat Party, the Democratic Party left me. That was 50 years ago about, right? JFK would be a Republican now, so to speak. That is what's happening. Wow.
Yeah. And I actually, and then you look at the contrast with what the family statement was, and it's you know what? Peace. But I love the point that you made, what a departure that is for him, and it's final.
Yeah.
That group, the family, they're not going to send Thanksgiving would be interesting.
Yeah, where's the Kennedy compound? It's in Amagansett or Kennebunkport or what? You ain't going back.
You're not going up there. No. Okay, we finally, we got the interview with Kamala Harris after 39 days of waiting. There's been back and forth about a debate, an official debate with Trump and Kamala, and it is scheduled for September 10th, which is a week from today, and it's on ABC. So, the interesting part about that, first of all, it took a minute for them to finally agree to a day to do it, and of course the network, that was controversial as well. But then she came out and she wants to change the debate rules. I know, you're shocked on that. So the things that she wanted to change, to keep the mics on at all times, she wanted to sit down and of course have notes as well. And let's give credit to ABC for once, and they've rejected her last minute attempts to change the format of the debate. So the mics will be cut. And remember, we talked about this with the last debate with Biden and Trump. It's sometimes let them talk over each other. Sometimes you need to see that. Fine, that stays as is with them off, while the other's speaking. And then you got to stand up the whole time. I like that energy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Wow, and that's an interesting one.
Yeah, and no notes. But you know what that brings me back to? It brings me back to 2016 and the debate with Hillary and Trump. And of course, I remember the one point when Hillary, I think, was sitting, right? I guess you had the option. And Trump was walking behind her. And it was this ominous big shadow behind her and intimidating her. I like the standing thing.
Yeah. Standing
and
in
no
a
notes.
debate,
Hell no notes.
Definitely no notes. And standing in a debate, absolutely. You're at a podium. You should stand. What would her angle be on sitting? What would it be?
Maybe it's just a visual.
She's young. It's not like Biden.
No,
where it was
but maybe, and she's a beautiful woman, right? But maybe it's just the visual part of her being a more petite woman. And he's a big man.
Yeah.
Maybe that part of it, the visual, because that automatically might exude weakness. If you're her, I don't know. No, they didn't say. But ABC said no, we're sticking with our format. Nice try.
1 week from today?
One week from today. Exactly.
Right.
You are officially back in this one. And to me, that is the moment. That is the most important moment. Donald Trump must have self-control. You can crush her just on policy alone. If what? If you stop with the personal attacks, we don't care what race you are claiming this week versus last week, whatever it is.
She's still
just
celebrating
policy.
Kwanzaa.
Yes. Yeah. All the inconsistencies. If you go there, this is over in my mind. So can he?
Oh God, I hope he can. Look, he did an unbelievably good job in that one that we watched together upstairs against Biden. So if he can maintain that control, and obviously she's, for as ridiculous as she is, she's sharper, quicker than Biden. But if he can just maintain that discipline,
And no teleprompter and questions. Hopefully they're not giving them too much notice on what any of the questions are, because of course that's what happened. 1 week from today, that's what happened with the interview on Thursday. This was really sad. It's the third anniversary of 13 American service members dying during the withdrawal, that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. Kamala Harris basically has nothing on her schedule, and she was not there for the anniversary. Joe Biden was at the beach. President Trump, he was there at Arlington National Cemetery laying a wreath for all 13 Americans who were killed that day. And you take a look at this video, and Devastating.
Wow. I mean, if you can't see what's right and wrong right now, again, like this is just another obvious one. It's not surprising. You know, I was off the grid for the Afghanistan withdrawal, obviously, because it was 3 years ago. So I got caught up on that. I think it was Adam Carolla that brought me back on that one and showed me those insane videos from Kabul and everything.
The sad thing, though, is that immediately upon seeing that video, and everybody's like, well, where's Kamala? Where's Joe Biden? Nowhere to be found. She comes out with a tweet and basically crushing him for taking this as a photo op instead of the fact of why he would naturally want to be there, why you would think she would naturally want to be there, and even Joe Biden, come off your vacation and go there. Some people on social media were like, okay, you got to think back to it at the beginning. These families have been devastated ever since. But either way, they chose not to be there for whatever reason. She chose to crush Trump for being there. And then Trump responded by releasing a video. And it was 8 of the 13 representatives from the 13 who died, their family members, who came onto a video and basically said, we invited Donald Trump. That's why he's here.
Oh, wow.
We did not even want you. You could have come anyway. You could have done the right thing. But they said, we haven't heard a word from you in the 3 years since we lost our son or our daughter or our daughter-in-law. So I thought it was brilliant by the Trump campaign to release that video. As soon as she went there, they're like, no. It's not a photo op. I care. And the families actually invited me. It was powerful.
Also, doing the right thing can be a photo op because he's probably going to be president again and was president. So, like, that's just like...
But I think they're like, well, damage is done. But how to not ever, for them to say, the family members, that we never even heard from you for the last 3 years. So don't come at us now. Election integrity. This is what I've been saying from day one. Everyone's like, oh, Trump. I'm like, guys, if you trust the system after what happened in 2020, then shame on you here. That's why I think there's so many people who are fearful. And this was a really huge win in that category. The Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania has ruled that the digital images of completed absentee and mail-in ballots, they're public records. So big deal there. How about this? Continuing. A review by Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia found over 6,300 non-citizens and almost 80,000 dead people on Virginia's voter rolls. So good job by Youngkin for exposing all of that. So now Virginia's going to require paper ballots for all elections. I love that. Paper ballots. What a concept. Going back to how it should be. Wisconsin Supreme Court also stops Democrats from tossing Jill Stein off the ballot, the Green Party, liberal, but Green Party candidate. And then the Michigan Democrats saying RFK Jr.'s name must remain on the ballot. So a lot of back and forth there. We talked about that earlier. But election integrity.
Right. So Jill Stein and now RFK has to be kicked off. Man, I mean, everyone's heard me say it a million times, but going from California, where I quite literally went to vote for the recall, the Gavin Newsom recall, and I by happen, like I just did it because it was like what I do. I took my license out when I got to the table there, and the guy was like, "No, we don't look at license, we don't look at IDs." How crazy that is compared to here, where I filled out a paper ballot that was in an envelope. Someone looked at my ID. I brought it to someone else. They watched me fill everything out and then brought. Man, it is. There is no excuse other than you want to steal elections. They literally were telling
you to put your ID away?
Yeah, literally. And then it turned out that the guy knew me. He's like, Dave, we don't need to see it, but it's not because I know you. That I swear, they were with me. We all voted the same day for the.
I forgot which influencer it was, by the way, that went in the streets of Manhattan, New York City recently, just to talk about the whole, racist voter ID laws, and going around and asking black people and saying, "Do you have your ID on you?" And it's like, yeah. Well, they're saying that it's racist, and then these black people were like, "What are you talking about? It's racist." I mean, it's so blatant, it's so obvious. And then I saw on Twitter, I think last night, the list of all the, dozens, hundreds of countries that all require an ID to vote. It's as basic as it gets.
You have an ID?
I do. Well, I mean, my mom's white.
Steele, ladies and gentlemen.
My mom's white, so I figured
That's how you did it.
I should. Just in case they noticed. I still think also it should be a national holiday.
Yes, completely agree.
Day off, stand in your damn line. I remember doing it with my kids and proud to show her that this is what we do and it's a piece of paper. I would never do mail-in. Anyway, we could go on about this. Yeah. Okay, charges against Trump. You know that this story will never go away because they're going to do whatever it takes to try to make sure he does not ever win anything ever again. But Supreme Court sends Trump case back to the lower court, awards former president restitution, basically. So he's charged in superseding indictment in an election interference case following the SCOTUS ruling, right? Jack Smith, the special counsel, and this is kind of a quote from ABC that we can put up here. President Donald Trump, in a superseding indictment in his federal election interference case that charges him with the same offenses in the original indictment, it's adjusted to the Supreme Court's recent presidential immunity ruling. So basically, they're calling him a presidential candidate, not former president, because of the immunity issue. So these are all the same charges being brought back up by Jack Smith, charging him again. And they're like, well, we're going to be able to get him now if we call him the candidate versus a former president. Again, that's the word. That's the word that certainly applies because they're going to do whatever it takes. And of course, there's many appeals that can happen. And so this wouldn't even really affect anything until after the election, until after we know what's happening. But the fact that they won't let this die is quite telling. How about some political news, other political news that isn't quite to this level? Our friend Tim Scott, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, he got hitched.
He got married again?
He got married!
Oh my God, look at that heterosexual man.
You're so weird.
No.
Mindy, is it Nose? Do you know Mindy? Nose? Noche?
Mindy.
His new wife, Mindy. Mindy, let's call her Mindy.
Yeah,
Mindy
great
Scott.
gal, great gal.
They met in Bible study, so it's a perfect storybook ending there. How about this one? RFK Jr. in an attempt to get ahead of a forthcoming New Yorker story. This one's phenomenal. He says in a new video that a decade ago, he dumped a dead bear cub in Central Park to make it look like a bicyclist killed this bear cub.
What?
Let RFK explain.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley. And I was supposed to meet them there at like maybe 8 or 9. I was driving up maybe, really early, like 7. And that woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear. And it was very good condition, and I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. You stayed late, and instead of going back to my home in Westchester, I had to go right to the city because there was a dinner at Peter Luger's Steakhouse. And at the end of the dinner, it went late, and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport. And the bear was in my car, and I didn't want to leave the bear in the car because that would have been bad. And I said, I had an old bike in my car that somebody had asked me to get rid of. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll be funny for people. So everybody thought that's a great idea. So we went and did that, and we thought it would be amusing for whoever found it or something. The next day, it was like, it was on every television station. It was the front page of every paper. And I turned on the TV and there was like a mile of yellow tape and there were 20 cop cars. There were helicopters flying over it. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do?
Sage, I got to tell you, watching now basically Donald Trump supporting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. explain to Roseanne Barr that he killed a bear and dumped it in Central Park is like, my life's work is almost complete. This really does feel like with the Tulsi thing, I've done everything I need to do. We could wrap it up. We might wrap it up.
Yeah, go back to Mexico.
So now he's evil. He hates bears. He hates animals.
And of course, because what he was trying to do was what? Was like, oh my gosh, this dead bear. And instead, it went south from there. But it's a New Yorker story that was going to come out, and oh my God, look what he's. And so, hey, that's smart PR, isn't it? Let's get ahead of it and let's do a video and have Roseanne in it as well. Why not, right? Okay, other things. We mentioned Elon Musk earlier. X files an antitrust suit against shadowy ad cartel for allegedly coordinating an illegal boycott.
Oh, well, that's great. That seemed like it was in the works for a while.
Absolutely.
That they were all kind of working against X to make sure nobody would put ads on there. So that's fantastic.
And it continues with X. Great. So GARM, the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, has disbanded after coming under fire in July's congressional hearing with Ben Shapiro and a lawsuit from Elon Musk's X, of course. But look at this, and this is happening as we speak. Brazil's ban on X has started coming into effect just in the last couple of hours. Justice Moraes, he's threatening Brazilians who use a VPN to access X with fines of up to $9,000 a day. So Brazil says no more, and they're shutting down other, is it SpaceX or other things in Brazil that have anything to do with Elon Musk, even though the shareholders and everybody are completely different.
I think wasn't one of the last stories we did before I left was about the new prime minister of Brazil basically saying that Elon Musk is enemy number one or something like that.
Yeah.
New president, I think.
Enemy number one, free speech. Like that's what makes him an enemy. Yeah.
Jeez.
So that's happening right now. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And of course, $9,000 a day, you're going to listen. That's the thing, and they get the control. Telegram CEO Pavel Duval was arrested in France. He was kidnapped by the French government. Whoa. And take a look at this. The Telegram founder CEO, again, Pavel Durov, was formally charged in France this week for a wide range of alleged crimes stemming from his refusal to cooperate with law enforcement officials investigating crimes that occurred on the encrypted communication platform. The guy's 39 years old, Russian billionaire over the weekend. So his private jet lands in the country as part of an investigation into, I guess it's a dozen potential offenses, including refusal to cooperate with law enforcement. I mean, all kinds of different things, including helping sexually explicit photos of children. I mean, not stopping that. I mean, there's a wide range of charges there. So keep an eye on that because he is now jailed and closely being watched right now.
And what that does is it sends a signal to Elon. That's probably what it really is about, right? Like, because that's the big fish. So you just send, you're a billionaire with a private plane, you land somewhere. I just watched Ozark. That was the one thing that I watched all month. Did you watch Ozark by chance?
No.
Just, you got to be careful where you land your private plane if you're doing some stuff.
Yeah, some stuff, But this is all tied together, and it's scary. But that's why we need Elon more now than ever before. My God.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan versus the media. So he called out MSNBC, and rightfully so. They edited a clip of him talking about Tulsi Gabbard in a very positive way, edited it to make it look like he was saying all these positive things about Kamala Harris.
Unreal.
Watch this.
This has gotten so popular that my stepdad contacted me to tell me he's happy that I'm suing MSNBC. I'm like, I'm not suing MSNBC. But this is what MSNBC did. They took a clip of me talking about Tulsi Gabbard, and they edited it up and made it look like I was saying great things about Kamala Harris.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You and I have been mashed up on other stuff and AI, and I don't want to, like you said, we don't want to draw attention that they got taken off the internet, thank goodness, but it was bull. It was it was AI and mashup.
Yeah, there's a lot of AI ads with us.
They did that about politics?
Yes, they did it about politics, but they didn't do it like AI. They just deceptively edited the things that I was saying, took it completely out of context, where I was talking about, first of all, I was talking about Tulsi Gabbard, and then I was talking about that the media behind Kamala Harris, all this surge and all these people just deciding that she's good, she could win. And they put the two of those together and made it seem like I was praising Kamala Harris and saying a bunch of things that aren't even true.
It was actually beautifully done, a great editing job, It was just completely false. And to do that, I would sue them. I mean, he doesn't need to, I guess, but I would sue them.
I mean, again,
Yeah.
Evil, that's the word.
Evil.
And you gotta admire what they do because
the
they
balls
still,
on them
well,
to
that's
do
the
that,
thing.
though.
Do they think they're going to get away with it? And I guess the
Especially
answer,
someone like Rogan, though.
But the answer, I guess, ultimately is yes, because they keep doing it and they still get a certain amount of people to follow. So someone at MSNBC, they edit the thing, right? And then whoever show they put it on, like they have to know it's edited or they didn't do their job by asking the editor or whatever. But it's like they do it and they know, oh, Rogan's going to call us out on this. But maybe their whole game is like, oh, Rogan's going to call on us. More people are going to watch our show. Like, that's just the nature of like the click, bait, evil. Bleh.
They've waited all, but that was gross. I want him to sue him, but how about this? Oliver Darcy, the reliable sources.
That guy's
he quit. He quit. He's out, and he is now starting his own newsletter called Status, like effective immediately. So I don't know. I want to know the why behind that one.
Oh, I mean,
but
he's just like, he was like a mini Brian Stelter type. Like, he's written nonsensical things about me. He's just another one of these people that works for the machine. The machine doesn't need you anymore, and you're pushed out. So, I don't think we need to belabor that.
Oliver
one.
who?
Yeah.
That transitions, unfortunately, great into the WHO, the WHO, which on August 14th called Monkeypox a global health emergency. And just in time for the election, right?
So what are they? Yeah. Well, first off, stop banging monkeys. If you're out there banging monkeys, just stop. That would be the first thing.
PSA, some advice.
That would be just like the general thing. But like, are people really worried about? First off, who would even listen to them at this point? But again, they get a certain amount of people to listen. Yeah.
Hello, on the planes. Yeah. You've been traveling the world. I see more masks than ever before over the last 3 years. I think people are buying in. Maybe not to that, but just in general.
Yeah.
You know?
And the thing is, this is the part of that we never got any comeuppance with this. That Fauci still goes on The View and all that. The fact that nobody ended up in jail, nobody, like with all of the years of lying and insanity and the horrible things they did and not going to grandma's funeral and everything, that nobody paid the price for it, so of course they can do it again. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. So if it's monkeypox or if it's COVID-9 or it's a zombie apocalypse or an alien invasion, of course they could do it again.
The fear mongering. Can I tell you this real quick? When this started a couple of weeks ago, August 14th, I was dropping my youngest off at college and my oldest called and she was in tears. And she follows politics and the news and she's like, Mom, what is this? Is this real? And she was upset because she's like, this is BS. The end of my high school got ruined because of COVID, graduation, you can't do that, you can't go to prom, all those things that for 18-year-olds, those are rites of passage, that's a big deal. And she's like, are they gonna ruin my senior year of college now too? Because you can't assume anything with them. I mean, it's all out on the table, right? So I feel like there isn't as much about this, and I feel like it's almost quieted down over the last couple of weeks, but it is true, because they will do whatever it takes to fear-monger, and whether it's kids, adults, middle-aged, there are people who are like, oh no, should I not travel? Should I not do this? Are we gonna get shut down again? It's provided opportunities for good conversations with my three college-age kids to say, okay, what is the plan? What would we do? But to me, just in time for the election, perfect.
I don't know where your daughter went to school, but I assume it's not Columbia or one of those.
It's in the South.
It's not
one of those. That was the requirement.
Because their graduations, the same kids who had their high school graduations ruined by COVID, had their college graduations ruined by the Hamas supporters.
Yes.
So it's like, and then you are stealing something from a young person. And that's just in the long litany of evil things.
Yes, but we heard monkeypox, and then she's like, make sure you bring your wipes in the plane. And but that is what happens. That's what they depend on. Unfortunately, she's chill. She gets it now, but she's more afraid because of it affecting her life.
Guys, I want to be clear. Nobody is getting the monkeypox vaccine in this room. Okay? I don't
or
care.
You are fired.
I don't care. Brock, I know your thing with the monkeys, but no.
What is his thing? Never mind.
That's all right.
Okay, talk about Israel. Israel, this is on August 25th, intercepts hundreds of Hezbollah rockets and drones, and so basically thwarting a much larger attack. You have that, you have Hamas killing 6 hostages, and this is just over the last couple of days, including, and this is heartbreaking, American-Israeli Hirsch Goldberg Poland. His parents, this is the part that I told you about earlier at the DNC. His parents are the ones that got up and spoke and pleaded for their son's release.
Wait, and then they killed him after that?
They are saying now that they believe, they found the bodies, they believe that they were killed, the 6 of them, Hirsch included, a couple of days before the bodies were found. So this means, DNC was 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God.
I know.
That's a strange, I mean,
who knows
hard
if they'll ever know the exact timing. I guess if they have the bodies back, you can probably determine scientifically. But devastating that happened over the weekend. In a press conference yesterday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, it was almost hard to watch. He asked for forgiveness for failing to bring the hostages back alive, and he said that Hamas will, quote, pay a heavy price. So it's been a while since we've seen that number of bodies come back, frankly, and it's as bad as it gets.
One of the things I was worried about when I was gone was I think the last day, I think July 31st was when Israel killed the Hamas leader in Iraq, Haniya, I think his name is. And so I thought that it was going to get suddenly much worse in Israel with rockets. And my sister, my brother-in-law is Israeli, who co-founded Locals with me, and they were there with the family. So I was really worried about that for that first 10 days that they were going to be there in the midst of all that. So I guess this is going to sound strange. I guess I'm glad to see it doesn't sound like the rockets did a lot. I mean, the hostages, obviously, it's horrible.
And intercepted, and apparently, again, they were thwarting a much larger attack.
Man, if we just had a strong administration, there would
not
be. It's just as simple as
that.
If
only. We didn't even touch on the fact that who the hell is running the country right now? She's running for office. He's on a constant vacation. Like, we don't know. We are right now, like, to me, the most vulnerable we've ever been. And every day I'm like, okay, we're okay for another day. Can we get there? But right now, Who's doing it? Who's doing anything?
That sounds hyperbolic in some sense, but it actually isn't. Like, if you were China, why wouldn't you take Taiwan now?
Yeah.
If you were Hamas, why wouldn't you keep turning the screws against Israel? It doesn't matter. If you were Russia, why wouldn't you just inflame things worse in Ukraine? Like, you know that America's weak. It just is. It's sad, and hopefully it won't be much longer.
The State of the Union. This is August 3rd, so just a couple of days into your escape. And this should have been the lead story for us. New Jack City. This is their report that in New York City, public masturbation up 51%. Your reaction, Dave Rubin?
51%. Wait, sorry. Can I see that headline again?
That's all I have here. 51%.
Public masturbation skyrockets by 51%.
New York City.
51.
Skyrockets. Yeah, we can move on. I listen.
That's a hard one.
What do you want me to do with that? Disgusting. Get out of here.
No
monkeys. No monkeys.
I don't. Again, nothing that does not surprise me. The city is in free fall.
Totally.
Why wouldn't people be whacking off on the subway or whatever?
When I was there 2 weeks ago, I didn't see that, thank God, but I pretty much saw everything else. Like it is, and this is in Manhattan. This is like in the nice part of town. Yeah. So we thought you'd enjoy that headline.
That's interesting.
10 days later, this is sad, and again, no surprise here. San Francisco, one of my previously favorite cities.
It's got to be up 80% in San Francisco.
Okay, but I was moving on from the masturbation topic to talk about a restaurant chain that's closing. The last remaining Denny's restaurant in San Francisco closes. A plague of dine and dashers. They just can't stay open. And again, not surprising news considering the location, correct? August 29th, California. This is disgusting.
I mean, if Denny's can't make it in your city, like seriously, if Denny's cannot make it.
Well, it's understandable why Saks Fifth Avenue and everything else has closed down in downtown San Francisco. Do we? Never mind. We might say this later. I don't want to ruin. I don't want to jump ahead. A lot happening in San Francisco. I'll just leave it at that. California moves to reduce sentences for convicted felons, murderers who have been locked up for more than 25 years.
That's a picture of a man that should be convicted.
Right there, absolutely. So SB 94, that's what it's officially called, would give certain people serving life without parole the chance to petition to have their sentences reviewed if their crimes were committed before June 5th, 1990. I don't know the magic around that number.
God, they're insane. It's like actually insane that you don't pick an arbitrary date to be like, that's okay, then we can figure out if maybe.
What is that? And you know, they're not going to say this, but I mean, the prisons in California are completely overcrowded. Part of that, don't you have to look back to Kamala Harris for that? I mean,
for putting people in who were smoking weed while she then was admitting that she smoked weed.
Exactly. So murderers, serial rapists back out on the street potentially.
I'm feeling my blood pressure start to rise. I came in here,
my heart was barely beating.
Now it's like it's starting to go. It's starting to go.
Phoenix is taking you all over the grid on this one. Okay, it's going to continue to increase with this one. California Democrats pass a bill to give illegal immigrants up to $150,000 in interest-free home loans. Listen to Nancy Pelosi.
The California lawmakers just passed a law, it hasn't been signed by Governor Newsom, but giving government assistance to undocumented immigrants to buy houses. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a different place than the Democratic Party used to be on immigration, is it not? I'm not going to say that's what the country's going to do, but that's certainly where California is.
Well, let me just say, immigration had always been a bipartisan issue. I refer you to
But not free houses.
Well, that's not free housing. It's the American dream being available to more people. But California's always in the lead. Maybe others will follow that lead, but that's up to those states. But we're very blessed here with beautiful diversity.
So you'd vote for this law?
Excuse me?
So you'd vote for this law?
Well, I'm not familiar with exactly what it is, but making the American dream of home ownership available to all people is something we have to do for people who are here now.
This is before you were a citizen. This is undocumented. This is for the undocumented.
Well, what I would like to do is move them to documented. The fact that we can move them to documented. And one of the best things that we can do for our economy is to pass comprehensive immigration reform.
It's back.
Yeah.
It's back. The searing headache.
I'm sorry. I told you we're going to come back up into it.
It's back watching that video. First off, the American dream is for Americans.
For Americans.
Maybe Nancy doesn't know that. $150,000. And Bill, who, you know, I've come to love and respect Bill, and I like him as a friend, and I'll smoke weed with him whenever he wants, which is pretty much the only time I smoke weed. But no, you cannot vote for that. He needs to not soft pedal that.
He was soft on that.
Yeah, like,
because
come
even
on,
for
man.
him to push her, he knows it's wrong.
$150,000. When you bought your first house, did the government give you $150,000 for that house?
Give me anything. And you know what? I don't want it. I don't want it. Like, I've earned that, you know? That's just, I don't know, it's a different generation, I guess.
And she, by the way, she also then just admits the thing. She admits the thing. Oh, yes, I want them to be legal, meaning them, yes. I want to document them and I want them to vote for us and we're going to give them stuff. So we'll have basically a new, this is going to sound harsh, but it will basically be a new system of slavery for a certain set of people.
100%.
That is just true. We will give them enough stuff so they will never leave us, and we will own them forever. That really is it.
She flat out said the quiet part out loud, but you know what? Once again, I give them credit.
Yeah.
They're smart. They have let everybody flood in. I mean, now we're up to what? 15 million? I mean, we don't even know the correct number. We'll never know the correct number, but minimum 10, 11. And give them free stuff. And by the way, when you come in, here's your money. Sign here, not knowing this is a ballot. Of course, sign here, and we have you for life. So I give him credit once again.
It's also insane. So we're going to give you $150,000 for a house. Also, when you show up at the airport, you're not going to have to show an ID. Regular Americans, they have to show an ID. We're going to have a separate line. I mean, you know that, right? You saw that thing? Yeah. Like, you're going to have a separate line. You can just come in. You won't have to wear a mask. Like, it's all...
You don't even have to have a name on your plane ticket to board. If you just say, I'm seeking amnesty, then you can go on. So I thought about trying that.
You should try that.
And with a little phone, little hidden camera recording. What would they say to me? And I can change the way I speak a little bit.
You can say,
it's probably free. I mean, it's a free plane too, right? And first class, right? I want more than pretzels when I get up there. The DEI, I feel maybe so the blood pressure, how is it? It's up here. It was low and now it's back up. Maybe this will bring it back down a little bit because I feel like this is kind of good news. It's all about DEI because now all of a sudden there are a couple of universities and even businesses who are saying, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. University of Missouri, Mizzou, eliminating DEI altogether on campus there. Auburn dissolving their DEI office as well. That's already happened. New College of Florida clears it out, tossing hundreds of LGBTQ and then CRT propaganda, those books in dumpsters, and also the University of Florida. So all of a sudden, DEI in universities is going away. So to me, that's a huge deal, right? Yes.
All right, I'll take a win.
We will take that. And then the state, I'm trying.
Yeah,
the new state law in the state of Florida, the free state of Florida, where we all now live. The new state law prohibits the use of state funds for DEI practices. So that's why you see the Florida and New College of Florida and others doing it now. So thank you, Ron DeSantis. That is not what those state funds should be used for.
Imagine a state not paying people to be racist.
I know. What a concept.
Yeah.
And then the Supreme Court, this actually also was good news for Title IX. Supreme Court blocking Biden's Title IX rules that allowed men and women's sports. There's more to it. It's big. It's a big.
That's great news.
It is, but of course there will be appeals, et cetera. But we all know Riley Gaines and love Riley Gaines, and when she kind of helped break that news, I mean, that was a really big deal as Title IX has just devastated so many. And so there's progress there, yes.
Wow, great.
I think this is also really good news. You asked which university my youngest kid went to. Again, all three are in the South for a reason. I told them I would not pay for their college education if they just stayed up in New England or in the Ivy League schools.
You lived up north too. Yeah.
Yep, I still haven't fully moved out, about to close on the house in a week. But because of places like this, Columbia University, the embattled president, Manoush Shafik, she resigned. So Columbia, like we all know what happened, all the criticism she received, rightfully so, including the pressure from Congress to resign. And I didn't realize that Congress had pressured her as well. But this comes after the pro-Palestinian student protests, et cetera, blocking the kids who just want to get to class from getting to class. So she's out. And then New York Republican Representative Elise Stefanik, who we love, she tweeted this. She put 3 down, so many to go. Because because, of course, she joins Penn President Liz McGill and then the Harvard President Claudine Gay, who fought and battled to stay on. But so those three universities that were the most obnoxious with allowing these protesters, they're all gone.
I take all those things as a win, but in some respect, those institutions are so infected. They're like zombies that, you know, have a little more time, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, they've been infected with the virus.
Like, it's too late anyway.
Well, it's just like, okay, so she steps away, but would you still want to send your kid to Columbia now?
Yeah, no.
Do you think that means they're not going to be taught these things? Do you think they don't figure out other ways, or they don't use the phrase diversity, equity, inclusion, they just call it something else, or however, how many other faculty members are still... So it's a win. It's definitely a win in, like, sort of like a large sense, but like in the granular sense, to me, I would just let all those universities... You want to go that way, just crumble, and let's just keep exposing them and everything else. But yeah, there's
true. Well, and as a parent of college-age kids who were talking about these and making these decisions, I know a lot of parents who are like, I know, but it's Harvard. I know, but it's Penn. So the status thing still matters to so many parents. And I'm like, at the end of the day, no one asked me my GPA, thank goodness. You get the piece of paper. It's more about life experience anyway. You know what I mean? And so to me, you couldn't pay me money, and I'm paying a lot for 3 at once to be at any of those schools.
Sage would be very proud of me. I did have to take one video call the entire month with my business managers just about, because I did this life insurance thing, and they were asking me about how we want to do college for the kids.
Right.
And I was like, we're not doing college for the kids. I'm going to set aside a certain amount of money that we're going to figure out how you do, there's tax deference and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But like, if they decide they want to go to school, we'll talk about it then. But I'm not planning on them going to 16 years from now. We'll see where the world is. But there's a lot of other things I would rather do with the money. Like, you guys have your heads on straight when you're leaving. I'm going to figure out a way to help you build a business or something else. But I'm not sending you there to think that, you know.
Because we've all been trained as parents to think a certain way, and it isn't, are you going to college? It's where, you know. It
wasn't even like a question for me. I was just like,
That's
nope,
great.
we're not doing that.
Yeah. I think if I were in your shoes right now, I would probably do the same thing, especially when you look at, they come out and they don't have a job anyway, most of them, you know what I mean? So the trade schools and the getting associate's degrees, if anything else, that's where
you did it right, because I've been in your car when all 3 of your kids called you unprompted, and you did not say there's anyone else in the car, and I heard your conversations with your kids, and you are a good mama, and they are good kids. So,
Thank you. It's the hardest job ever, but the best job ever. I mentioned the schools, but then the businesses, so Harley Davidson, and they got pounded too. So they're dropping the DEI, all the woke initiatives as well. I think they got a little bit of a mini dose of that Bud Light treatment, and Jack Daniels as well. So don't you sense a little bit of a shift there?
All right, that's nice. That's
Yay,
nice.
Happy news. Okay, bad faith actors news. And this stuff is deep. I'm trying to predict where his blood pressure is going to go. I don't know, you guys. So this is on August 2nd. Donald Trump says Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg called him after the assassination attempt, and Zuck said he is not going to support a Democrat. He also apologized for Facebook and Instagram censoring those iconic photos of Donald Trump with the blood running down his face and the fist up in the air. Okay, we have video. Take a look at this.
Said that the picture wasn't altered. At first they said it was altered, and then they said, no, it was a bug, it was a mistake. So my point is these companies would not allow any information out about what happened.
So Mark Zuckerberg called me. First of all, he called me a few times. He called me after the event, and he said that was really amazing. It was very brave, and and he actually announced he's not going to support a Democrat because he can't, because he respected me for what I did that day. I think what I did maybe was to me, it was a normal response. But I was called by Mark Zuckerberg yesterday, the day before, on this same subject, and he actually apologized. He said they made a mistake, et cetera, and they're correcting the mistake.
They're always making mistakes in one direction, which is kind of interesting.
Fascinating, right? And then Zuck, this admission to me was huge. He said in a letter that the Biden-Harris administration repeatedly pressured his company, which includes Facebook, of course, Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, to censor content that is protected free speech. So he flat out admitted that. And this is in front of the House Judiciary Committee. And he was saying it with Jim Jordan, the one asking the questions. And he said that his goal moving forward was to, quote, be neutral and not play a role one way or another for any political party or ideology. He said he doesn't even want the appearance of playing a role, will not be making political contributions. But he admitted that he listened to the Biden-Harris administration and censoring for all of these years.
Yeah, well, first off, we know some of
We
that.
do know.
Jim Jordan even told me that one of my tweets was on the list of things that got taken down. I had tweeted out in September, in August of 21 July of 21, that mandates are coming, vaccines aren't working, mandates are coming. He said that was on the list of things that the government pressured. I said, well, can you get anything from the government? He's like, no, you don't even get a letter of apology. So they can infringe on your First Amendment right to free speech, and you don't get anything. You don't get a letter. You don't
Nothing.
I kept saying to the janitor, could someone in this building? Right. We were at the Capitol. I was like, could someone apologize? He's like, no, that's not how it works.
Right.
So I guess that's nice. All right.
Like I was taken aback that he sat there and admitted all of it. Like he didn't even have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I guess the real takeaway though is that once again, they can do the evil and no one gets fired. Nobody gets demoted. It just keeps moving on.
And Kamala Harris still has not had a press conference in her 45 days since taking over, because if I'm a reporter at that press conference, I'm asking that question.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this happened, when was this? This was in time for her interview last week.
Right.
This should have been. Maybe this was asked by Dana Bash and it ended up on the cutting room floor, but that he said the Biden-Harris administration told me to do this and I did it. That question should have been asked.
Right. We know that Joe is not in charge of that administration, so did you know about this?
That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Well, let me. This is kind of gross. Not a surprise either with Thomas Crooks.
Wait, this is worse than the New York City thing?
Oh, not that kind of gross.
Oh,
no,
right.
just like pathetic and shouldn't be shocking. But Thomas Crooks, the young man who shot Donald Trump. Yeah. So we found out that he spent months and months engaging in rifle training at the same facility used by DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and multiple local and federal law enforcement agencies. That's according to newly released records. And oh, by the way, his body is gone. Gone.
Wait, what?
Yeah. No one knows. I mean, we know why he died, autopsy results, I guess, but where did it go? Where is he buried?
It was released to the family, or I guess they're saying it was cremated. Gee.
Nobody even knew his body was gone until August 5th.
So he was training
the fact that he was training with the same place where DHS trains, federal, local law enforcement. I don't remember if this happened after or before you left, but when people now say, okay, that he was in Washington, D.C., he's got these offshore accounts, these are all reports, et cetera. Then no social media. There's so much fishy here. And I don't understand. How is this not being talked about?
So he somehow managed to train where DHS trains, and yet he was able to shoot on a slightly sloped roof, even though they're not allowed to be on a slightly sloped roof? That makes me wonder.
Yep. So Crooks, hopefully we hear more about that, because as a citizen, I want to know. I want to know. Dr. Anthony Fauci, we mentioned him earlier, and I couldn't wait to tell you this one at the time. I had to go in order. He has COVID again, poor guy, for the third time. Any guess on how many times he's been vaccinated vaccinated once, boosted?
He's got to have been boosted, 5 times?
6 times. And he's got it again.
And he's got COVID
but
again.
Now, apparently, thoughts and prayers. He's hospitalized with West Nile virus. I guess he didn't have a vaccine for that.
Surely you can't be serious.
Dead.
He's right now hospitalized?
With West Nile virus, yes. We need more boosters. We need more vaccines. Yes.
I don't wish anyone ill.
Once again, thoughts and prayers. Well, but do you talk about, evil with a capital E?
Yeah.
He's the definition of evil.
Yeah.
And then we end with this. The Gen Z influencer, Harry Sisson?
Yes.
Young Harry?
Oh, little Harry Sisson. Yes, I've had some exchanges with him.
I know. Classic. He isn't even an American, Dave. Watch.
What?
Born in Singapore. And I lived there for only a year, and then I moved to Dubai, and I lived there for 5 years, and then I moved to Dublin, Ireland. I lived there for around 9, so that's pretty much where I grew up. And then I moved to the United States and went to high school here, and now I'm going to college here.
He's not an American? Is that unclear whether he's possibly an American? Maybe he got the citizen? Nobody even, I don't even know what this kid.
Harry Sissy Sisson, yes. Olympics, you were there for the beginning of it and all the drama at the beginning.
Yes, spectacular.
And that was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could have been sitting here with you for that one. The Olympic boxer, was the boxer making news at that point?
No, I don't think so.
So a female Olympic boxer. This is the one. Yeah, this is the young lady. So she quit her match in tears because she was being forced to fight a biological male. He's from Algeria. Iman Khalef. He won the gold medal in the 145-pound division, and he beat several women along the way. And there was such an uproar.
So that's the man. That's a man.
Him, who of course says he's a she, and the internet was just afire with all of this because, there was testing back and forth and there were questions and they're like, well, sometimes you have this disorder, which means you could be either, but he has a Y chromosome. Won the gold medal. And there were a lot of female boxers along the way who then kind of did their thing to stand up and would do this when they lost the boxing match, right? That was their only thing that they could say is, women. But in the meantime, the Olympics leaves it up to each sport as far as how they determine that. And of all sports, boxing, right? So that was unfortunate. And then, very masculine. We see the whole thing. And then as soon as the Olympics were over and he had the gold medal, a complete glow up. And all of a sudden, makeup and hair, I'll send you the picture. It was awesome. If you're wondering about the Olympic medal count, were you? We won.
How'd we do? We did all right? Okay, yes. We still got something cooking here?
Yep, tied China for gold, but overall we won. How about some sports news for you? Because, your timing is always perfect, by the way, because you come back just in time for football, and most importantly, right before basketball training camps tip off as well.
It's the dog day of summer, not much happening,
exactly. Skip Bayless.
Yeah, what happened to Skip?
Out at Fox Sports.
Oh, interesting.
He's on, the final day for Skip Bayless has arrived. I work with Skip at ESPN for many years.
Yeah.
I loved Skip Bayless, the human being. I thought some of the stuff he said was
he's a little
nuts,
over the top and whatever.
But he's such a good soul, and nobody
nice
works harder than that man. But apparently he's out at Fox
Wait,
Sports.
got fired or?
I think that just contract's not being renewed. There wasn't like a sudden firing.
Is it? People know what he's doing, or?
I haven't seen that. He's 70.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's made tons of money, so who knows? But the ultimate workaholic, so we'll see. But I don't think people ever will give him enough credit for what he did in the creation, basically, of Stephen A. Smith, of that debate model there. And then he left and he went to Fox. And then really, Shannon Sharp should be thinking Skip Bayless as well. And now Shannon and Stephen A. So anyway, I love
he was on ESPN before Stephen A.?
Bayless?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he did kind of create the more like over-the-top direct.
So it was Cold Pizza.
Yeah. Cold Pizza was the morning thing.
And that was Skip. And then it was First Take. And then Stephen A. really started to come up like that. But Stephen A. says it, too. He gives Skip a ton of credit for that. So we'll see what happens if he ends up elsewhere. But he really has had a remarkable career, pissing people off for all these years as well.
What were they thinking calling that morning show Cold Pizza?
You didn't like the name of it, Cold Pizza? Yeah.
I got it.
No, you're just healthy. I have cold pizza for breakfast.
No, I get it. I get what cold pizza is.
I know you get it, but you just didn't like the title. That's fine. First Take's that much better. Okay, speaking of firing, so no, he was not fired, but my girl, Samantha Ponder, host of NFL Countdown on ESPN, she was fired 3 weeks before the NFL season began, which is insanity. I guess I was emotional that day.
Some news.
I was in Oxford Myths dropping off my daughter at college when this happened, and it was shocking because at the end of the day, she had a year left on her contract. They also fired Robert Griffin III, former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, etc. But they fired Sam, and she was shocked. This was out of the blue. And the funny thing is if they said it was a cost-cutting thing, and if you're making a lot of money, fine. But it's not like they didn't know that because they signed her to it. And if you are going to make a move, probably do it at the end of the last season. February, let's say draft time, April, but to wait until the very last second before the season begins, it shows a lack of, common sense to make sure that your new host will gel with your analysts, Rex Ryan, Teddy Bruschi, Randy Moss, all who love Samantha Ponder, but they're saying it's cost-cutting. Sam was the only other woman at that network besides me, I was gone though, who continued to speak up for women in sports and against the trans stuff. She had been liking some tweets from Kirk Herbstreit, from myself. Kirk Herbstreit spoke up and said, of course, men shouldn't compete against women. Yeah. Sam does that. They're saying it's cost-cutting. I am suspicious, but for her to like those tweets, be a little more vocal, and then all of a sudden chopped, interesting, and it just is...
cost cutting kind of never really means cost cutting
No.
because I'm going to guess that every guy that you just mentioned right there on the analyst side probably makes more than her. That would be my guess. I don't know.
I mean, usually the former athletes and coaches end up making a lot more. Yeah.
So if you're cost cutting, like how much could she have possibly been making that it's going to move the dial at ESPN?
It's not, especially when you have, McAfee's making $18 million. Stephen A's probably going to get 20 to 25 in his next deal within the next 9 months. So it's hard to defend them when they seem to keep making political moves. So Sam Ponder will bounce back, let me tell you, that's for sure. So we're going from sports to airplanes. And this video was awful, and I played it 100 times because I kept thinking, can you imagine being a passenger in this plane at Sao Paulo, Brazil? An aircraft crashes. Take a look.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, just like out of the sky. I haven't heard anything about what happened, reasons why, but that's a passenger plane. It's not like a military plane carrying cargo. And I'm trying to remember how many.
I assume everyone died?
Everyone died, yeah. But the video to be caught, anyway. Tragic there. And then, do you remember the Alaska Airlines pilot, the former Alaska Airlines pilot? His name was Joe Emerson. So he basically tried to kill the engines of a plane that he was co-piloting mid-flight. Joe Emerson, he says now he was dealing with the effects of taking mushrooms. So he took a few too many shrooms and they affected him in a...
I made a big mistake.
Yes. So shrooms, I guess, at your own peril, be careful. Yeah. But he was facing 83 charges of attempted murder. Because when you reach up and pull the red levers and try to shut off your engines at 30,000 feet, that's a death wish. For some reason, the engines continued to run, and the other co-pilots, co-pilot grabbed him and stuff. But so it went from 83 attempted murder charges to just state and federal, including 83 counts of reckless endangerment, et cetera. Prosecutors could offer a plea deal, et cetera. But Joe Emerson, please don't pilot my plane and don't take shrooms. Maybe before took it a couple days prior. Apparently, some people, the effects don't wear off quickly enough.
I mean, I'm 20 years out of that game, so I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what to say.
And then the other day, unfortunately, 2 Delta employees, I should say, were killed at the Atlanta airport. They were working on the plane itself, and tires exploded, and 2 people died. So there seems to always be plane news, and these days, so it's bigger than just missing your connection because of the endless delays. Apparently, there's a lot of other things.
One thing I did notice from being off, and again, I was mostly home, but is there a new sort of post-COVID certain level of anxiety and tension at airports that did not exist pre-COVID? Or is that just me at this point?
Well, I just think it's more recent.
It seems like something like the level of stress at an airport, if you're just looking at it, now most people are just staring at their phones like drones, but just the amount of sort of like tension that you just kind of like feel at airports, and maybe again, because I was off, so I felt it a little bit more there when I was just around people. But like something about flying in general, I think has gotten much, much worse than it was 5-10 years ago.
Absolutely. I think COVID and the tension with that, and the flight attendants who were snappy, understandably so, and then the passengers who were jerks to them. I think it's a domino effect, but now it seems to be more recent where, I will do anything to not connect because the chances of me making that flight are brutal. More and more luggage piled up, so I don't know exactly what's going on, but yes, not good.
Wow.
All your flights were good down to Mexico?
My flights were all right.
Okay.
We made it.
Okay, good. This is sad, too. Some deaths in the month of August. Halloween actor Charles Cyphers, brief illness. He died at the age of 85. And then August 10th, former YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki. Is it Wojcicki?
I think it was Wojcicki, if I'm not mistaken. I met with her at YouTube. We had a meeting.
Yeah,
how did she pass? She wasn't that old.
She had a 2-year battle with cancer. She was just 56 years old. She'd stepped down, I think, last year from being the CEO. Right. But remember, 6 months ago, her 19-year-old son was found dead in his dorm at UC Berkeley of an apparent drug overdose. So her husband released a statement, and I just cannot imagine right now what that family is going through with the death of their 19-year-old son, and now Susan after a 2-year battle with cancer.
Look, I had a fairly tense meeting with her a couple of years ago at the height of the censorship thing. And they let me come in, and there were lawyers there. It was just me and like 10 YouTube people and her, and it was somewhat tense. But that's very, that's very sad.
Heartbreaking.
Obviously.
Yeah, just 56. Yeah. Also, at the age of 88, Phil Donahue. died. Yeah.
I used to love Phil Donahue. I remember coming home from school. My mom would be watching Phil Donahue at 4 o'clock on NBC. I think it was syndicated, but it was NBC in New York. And him running out into the audience. And it was just such like a crazy, actually when I do my book tour and some stand-up stuff, when I do this like sort of crazy, that's what I kind of do, like a crazy road show, throwing things into the crowd and getting people screaming. Like to me, I'm sort of reincarnating Phil Donahue. I really like him. Politically, I think we were very different. He kind of went, as he got older, he got more and more left, which was a little bizarre because people usually go the other way as they get older. But he was a broadcasting legend.
Absolutely. I remember, I mean, that's when you know you're an 80s baby. 70s baby growing up more so in the 80s. And I mean, does he get credit for Oprah?
No, he created that thing. And that thing,
the concept, the format.
How many of those shows were there? Probably, if you look at like how many of those shows there were, probably between like 86 and 95, there must have been 200 of those shows.
So then you go to Sally Jesse.
Right.
See, everyone in this room has no idea
what the hell are they talking about? We're on TikTok. We're so cool.
Sally Jesse, Raphael, Ricky Lake. Okay, just kept going. So thoughts and prayers with all those families, frankly. Okay, it's a couple of celebrities. This is so annoying. Ben Stiller, go away, Ben Stiller.
You're saying Ben Stiller died. Oh, what?
No, I'm sorry. Let's move away from death. That wasn't a very smooth segue there, was it? He says that he wishes, this is, okay, it was, what was it, White Men for Kamala? Is that what it was called, basically?
Oh, God, Stiller, now you're going to ruin
I know.
He's going to ruin the movies for me? What?
He is. He says he wishes he were black. He was on a call for Kamala Harris being president. Here, I'm sorry, I shouldn't give it away. Let him say it. Watch.
Get out and vote and donate. And she's also a historic candidate. You know, it's going to be the first woman president. And that's incredibly exciting. And, you know, she's Indian, she's black, she's everything. You can be more than one thing. It's incredible. You know, I'm Jewish and Irish. I wish I was black. Every white Jewish guy wishes he was black. You know, it's just get out there and vote and donate and like take advantage. This is such an important time right now, and this wave of energy that's happening, we got to keep going with it. So please do everything you can.
It's just so pathetic. It's just like, it's the thing. It's just like, it's pathetic at every level.
Every Jewish white guy wishes they were black.
Yeah, maybe on the basketball court a little bit, but I still got it. You know, I've been playing the last couple of weeks, guys. Wait till you see. But like, it's just nothing. It's just nothing. Is she qualified? She's Indian and black. And remember, she celebrated Kwanzaa, and it's all bullshit, and it has nothing to do with competency. Oh,
by the way,
that's so disappointing because Meet the Parents is a great movie.
I know, they ruined it
Kid.
for
You ever
us.
see Heartbreak Kid? It's pretty good.
I haven't seen Heartbreak Kid.
He marries this girl that he barely knows, and then they go on their honeymoon, and then she turns out to be completely insane.
No, I didn't see that one.
It's actually
really. I know, I love him. It makes me sad, but like, and I think they're intentionally clueless. Other celebrity news: Taylor Swift canceled a concert in Vienna after an ISIS plot was narrowly foiled by police.
I don't know why. That's funny.
I know he's laughing because everybody almost got blown up. Taylor Swift, and then.
Like, can you imagine? I would have come back and ISIS took out Taylor Swift. You know,
of all
Wentz
people,
is president now, and ISIS took out.
Yeah,
Taylor.
no, it's fine. He's going to stick with Wentz, isn't he?
Yeah.
Please stick with Wentz. Yeah. And then J-Lo and Ben, it's over again.
Oh,
it's over again. Divorce. Yep. One more time. So at some point, J-Lo, you got to look in the mirror, don't you? This is number 4. Done.
It's her 4th.
I think it's her 4th marriage and divorce.
Because it's twice to him, or
was she married to him the first time? No, they were just together.
Just doing their thing. Do you know that I dedicated my first book to Ben Affleck?
What?
I dedicated my first book to Ben Affleck because he went on Real Time with Bill Maher that time with Sam Harris, and they were fighting about religion and everything, and it was like one of my wake-up moments because he was so insane and ridiculous and over the top, and people think he was on steroids because he was training for Batman, that it helped me wake up politically, and I
You're
gave
kidding.
the book to Ben Affleck. Yeah.
I did not know that. Yeah. Any regrets?
It's right behind it. Yeah, it's first page of that book right there.
This one?
Yeah.
Don't burn this book?
Yeah, it's right
oh
there.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Okay, I need to put my glasses back on to see this. Okay, I'm gonna take this home. You haven't signed it. Yeah. I think that's it. How do you feel? Because we took you on a bit of a roller coaster ride with the blood pressure, with all the different news.
Yeah.
obnoxious news, which you expected, some stupidity in the political landscape, some good news, I think some things trending upward. What would you say is we're going to end on a high note, the best news that I have shared with you?
Oh, it's the RFK thing by far.
Yes.
By far. Like, that is the thing that can save America. If you can take the old school liberal and combine them with an American-loving conservative that is willing to live with people who are a little bit different, which most conservatives are, that's America. That's freedom. That's what we have to sell. We have the best product. You know, I kept thinking this. We have the best product in America.
Yes.
Freedom. It's the best product man-made. It's the best product that God ever gave us. And all we have to do is market it a little bit better against these crazy lunatics. I think we can do that.
So there's hope.
I feel like
so there's hope. Yes.
Yeah.
My last question for you then, because the way this began was unforgettable.
Yeah.
With you. Thank you for sharing that experience with the vultures. You said vulture, and I'm like, that means like death and destruction. So I was scared, and it was the exact opposite.
So I Googled it. It's true.
I had no idea. So I have a feeling you're going to be carrying that experience, that moment with you, not just in the next year, as you kick off your new year today, but forever. Really, right? Like, so what specifically do you think? Like, how do you think that might affect you going forward? Today, every day, coming into work, sharing with America, certainly at home.
Knowing how crazy all the politics stuff is and doing what we do and everything else, I just want to be a part of fixing this thing. Again, I have the physical stuff I want. I have the family I want. I have that. So now if I can help the other thing, to whatever extent I can, for whatever little bit people like you and I can like nudge this in one way or the other and make people maybe think about things a little bit differently or not be so angry about things or whatever, then that's what I'll keep doing and working with amazing people and doing all that. And man, did I pick the right host for this thing or what?
No.
I think we
this
did
is the biggest honor for me that you trusted me with this, and most importantly, literally, I think it takes courage to do what you do, to take that month off, like especially in an election year, and there's so much happening, and it's literally changing the course of this country and the world based on what happens here, right? And to come back, and now, buckle up, everybody. Rubin's back with new graphics and everything.
I'm going to take you to lunch. Is it too early for tequila or?
Hell no, it's not too early. Are you kidding me? Let's go. I am a lightweight though, so only one. Only one quick shot.
And the Rubin Report.
Wait, what?
And the Rubin Report.
A little bit old, that chart's a couple of months old. If you want to really see some...
Donald, you must move your head.
Shenzo, you died, and I'd never got the chance to say goodbye.
Donald, I don't say goodbye. You need to remember your training. Move your head. I cannot explain. I must go.
Wait, Shenzo, if I never see you again, then see you later, Space Cowboy.
But you will see me again, because there is one last thing that I must do.
Months old, and if you want to really see something that's said,
Thank you, Shenzo.
I'll guard the roads and I'll guard the skies.
It's so crazy.